Welcome everybody, welcome. Good morning. Hope you all had a nice week so far, and let's have a nice weekend together. Welcome. So, welcome Snowbleach, welcome. The new legendary ring, yes, I just saw the video, it's actually quite interesting. As far as I understand it, it's just a ring that you equip, and you will get this like ray of sunshine, and you will also like just get this like some kind of effect while you walk. I don't think it's an outfit, it's just that like normal when you equip, for example, legendary ring, you get a specific like height effect and stuff like that, and it will showcase this effect when you, for example, draw your weapon, these balls floating around. And when you like stow it, you have this purple glow. I highly doubt that there's anything else related to like outfits or anything like with the legendary. I think it's just this like checkbox, and everything else is like the same as for all the other legendary trinkets, rings, whatever. Yeah. I think it will stay like that, Pocky. I'm pretty sure that this ring or this character is just wearing some fashion that might come with like, I don't know, with the new patch with quick play. I don't know who will see, but I think the ring is just, they showed it yesterday in the live stream as well, I think to some extent. I think the new ring, I think it's called Endless Summer, is just another legendary ring. That's it. Just height and unheight effect. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome to the stream. Are you hyped for the upcoming fashion templates? Do you like the design of them? Do you think they are good, or do you think they could be better? I'm really interested to see your opinion here specifically on this fashion templates, because I'm obviously not a big fashion type of guy. So every feedback is appreciated, and hopefully we can talk about it. I'm a bit underwhelmed. Really? Okay. So, I mean, I heard that a lot, but do you think that what exactly is the thing that you expected more of? What is the thing that's missing? That's interesting to me, because like I said, I'm not a fashion guy, so for me personally, it looks okay. I have no clue what you would expect from a fashion template. But who knows, you know, maybe I'm completely like off, and I just don't know anything about fashion, and maybe it's just garbage. Who knows? I think it looks quite good. And I think the monetization is also like understandable. I think it's not the best it could have been, but it's also far from the worst. So I think personally it makes sense. 600 gems for one fashion template per like full account unlock. I think that's okay. Welcome Machiwaru, welcome. How are you all doing? Do you like the fashion templates? Did you see the live stream yesterday where they talked about it? Because they showed actually pretty much everything, I would say. I was expecting more features, I guess. Okay, I mean, that's fair. But I mean, I was hoping, of course, for like mounts. I think they confirmed that they will get mounts this year at some point in there. I was, obviously, for me personally, the biggest hope was that infusions are in there. That we just get the infusions as some kind of cosmetic style that you can switch on and off, like you can do with the legendaries. I think that would be like, that would have been my dream. But what can you do, you know? It's just like, apparently they don't have the resources to deliver on that. Yeah, I guess that's how it goes. Blessed surprise, they're account wide. Yeah, I was mentally prepared so that they are not account wide. I was really like thinking, okay, this is just a wish. I didn't see it, to be honest, that it's like really not like as monetized as it is, because right now it looks actually fairly like really just in terms of the monetization, at least for me, you know. Even if you want to get full account-wide fashion templates, 9 of them, you only have to purchase 7 times 600 if you don't buy them on sale. I think that's not too bad. That's not too bad for sure. It feels like there's not many people worked on it. Yeah, I think to be honest, that is a fair point. I think that is okay. You know, I think it's like the resources that they put in there, I would agree, it doesn't look like they put on the whole studio. Yeah, I think that is a fair criticism. But I have to be honest, like, the fashion template itself looks like good. You know, it's not like a scam. It's not bad. Thank you very much for the sub. Really appreciate it, Quali Rachel. Really, really nice. Thanks a lot. Hope you're enjoying the stream. But I think you're right. They could have put more effort in. I think the mounts, like the set, they will bring out the mounts at some point this year. So I think that's already something that is really good. Like that they actually announce, yes, we will update this in the future. but I think they could have been in there already. And like I said, I think infusions, that's for me the biggest point, and they didn't mention anything about it, so I guess they not have that on the table yet, right now at least. Yeah, that was for me like the biggest hope, because that's something like preview infusions, let them, so to say, used on your account, unlock them on your account. I think that would be a bit more interesting. But yeah, that's just, I guess they didn't have the resources. Who knows why, but that's just how it goes, I guess. Yeah, but like I said, I think the monetization is actually quite nice. Like for being account-wide and 600 gems, that is nice, but I heard the argument from some people that it's really annoying for them because they use the equipment templates for that and they don't get, so to say, any compensation for that. Because if you have 9 equipment templates, you, so to say, get not compensated that you have only 2 free fashion templates now. I think that's an interesting criticism. I don't see that because you can still use the equipment templates as fashion templates, so I don't really see what the problem is. But I understand that it seems like they're monetizing it even more than they already did. Yeah, fair point. Fair point. Yeah, exactly. To be honest, I don't care much about fashion. Yeah, I treat it as a quality of life and appreciate it. Yeah, I agree. I think like I don't care about fashion that much either. And I think like the quality of life it brings is good. And I'm happy for the people that want to get a lot of fashion templates and use them. I think personally for me, it's not always about my own like thing. It's also about what the others like, how many, like if 90% of the player base really loves this feature, I'm all for it, even if I don't really want to use it. Yeah, 100% with you there. They can still use the equipment templates and count it. Exactly. I think it's like, it's a weird criticism to say like, you just don't get compensated because you still have the equipment templates. Nothing there changes. That's for me a bit weird argument, but maybe I just don't get it. Maybe, you know, like I said, I'm not a fashion type of player, so maybe I'm just like, I'm not in the bubble. I don't see what's the problem. If I ask myself what core update does Guild Wars 2 need, it's not fashion templates. Yeah, I have to be honest, it really looks like that the core feature update is really around like 3 big updates, you know? So we get the core feature update. It's titled like that. The core feature update is titled core feature update, and we get the merging of the raids. Wait, I have to go in the bears before I forget here. Do the trick here. Very good. So it's the raids merging, it's the UI update for the raids and the raid merge itself, and it's the fashion templates. I don't see anything else that is like really big updates to the core features, and I think that is, for me, I think they're good. Don't get me wrong, I like those updates. But to be honest, core feature update, it sounded more like there were like 5, maybe even like up to 10 crazy changes to the core game. And it's not really like, it's not really like that big as I hoped to be. And I'm with you there, Snowbleach, 100%. I think it's crazy that there are no changes in the quick play feature so that you actually get the raids in there. It's just like, it is exclusively strike missions, and most of them are actually quite easy. So it's like, typically you didn't really need a quick play for those. You know, the quick play for raids would have been way more interesting because that is exactly what is, so to say, more scary. You know, getting into strike missions like those Kodam bears, to be honest, like most open world players would be like clearing that first time. This is not hard. Hard is, for example, Kadim or something like that, and they didn't really, or it's not that hard, but it's hard for them to get into that. And I think that is something that is missing 100%. And I was surprised that they didn't do that, and I think it's a fair criticism, 100%. By the way, if you were wondering what build I played earlier in the other 2 strike missions, it was a Celestial Paragon to get as much damage out as possible. You don't need the healing in most of the strike missions. Yeah, I hope they continues to update the core features that they deliver, like the strike missions that, or the raid quick play, that the quick play is increased in size so that we get maybe Wing 1, Wing 4 or some easy like raid encounters in there as well. In the future, hopefully in the near future. I really hope that this is in the next few months. And after that, maybe increase that to all of them at some point. That would be the dream. I'm not sure if they're capable of that, but that would be the dream for sure. And also the fashion templates, I really hope they push out the mounts, the gliders, all that stuff really fast. And then they maybe extend it with the infusion at some point. They didn't mention it, so I don't have my hopes up, to be honest, but I think that would be awesome. In general, like I said, I think the fashion templates with the system that you have now, this thing on top there, I think that's good. Don't get me wrong, I think it's good and it's well made. It's just not perfect yet. Yeah. But it's just my opinion, you know. Maybe here in chat, people having completely opposite opinion. That could also be the case. Yeah, that's completely fine. Raids not being a quick play is disappointing, but it is a step in the right direction. Exactly. I think it's like you should not judge the system in terms of what it could be, but you should judge the system in terms of how much it improves the already existing system, because it's already like really good. It's way better than the thing that we have, for sure. So I think it's a step in the right direction, and it's, to be honest, a rather big step, because it helps players getting in that come from fractal quick play into strike missions, or now called raid encounters. I think that is completely like a really good thing. And yes, it could be better, but I think you make small steps, or steps in the first place. You don't want to expect as a player to get everything perfectly nailed with the first update of some kind of release, for sure. That's my opinion there. Let's just hope they don't do the ArenaNet mistake and release something that is good but needs iterations to be even better, and just don't iterate it on it. You know, that's like, they did that so many times in the past. They came out with something interesting, a really good idea that is not perfectly executed, and did not like iterate on it. And that's just sad, because it could have been perfect and they just stopped working on it. They shifted the resources, whatever. I really hope they continue to push that stuff with fashion templates, especially with quick play. That's my hope. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe at some point we get that for dungeons and all the strike or all the raid bosses as well. That's my hope. Going to miss your daily Iceblood Saga? Yeah, I'm actually missing them already. And I have to be honest, I am not sure how it works. They did never mention how it works. So that is one of the questions that is like still in the air. And to be honest, it's one of the biggest ones of the whole patch for me. How does that work with the other rewards? You know, they talked about Magnetite shards and Blue Prophet shards. But you're not necessarily farming, like, for example, Whisper of Chormek every day to get, like, I don't know, 5 to 10 Blue Prophet shards from it. That is, yeah, sure, it's a nice side effect, but it's not the thing that is actually keeping me play it daily. It's about the, like, Eternal Ice shards. It's about, like, for example, Dragonstorm gives me all other good stuff as well. And I think that's for Iceblood Saga Strike Mission a lot of people's interest as well. So is that removed? Is that something that they remove because it's daily kept and that's not something they want for raid encounters? Or do they keep it and say, okay, this is something that is not related to quick play, raid merging, and we keep it? Because those chests here, look, those chests, they could be still daily. There is nothing here that is actually, so to say, interacting with Magnetite shards at all. I get Itrite ingots, I get unidentified gear, I get Eternal Ice shards. That is the gold. The question is this gold removed, or is it moved somewhere else? You know, they said there are some boss chests for those. Maybe that is included in a boss chest. But is that then enough? Who knows? I don't know. Maybe I can still farm them. I doubt it, but who knows? Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's weekly now, but it's not confirmed. You know, it's just what we interpret in there. It could be still some kind of daily road attached to it, just because they don't want to touch it. How does the chest in Eye of the North work? Is it completely removed? Is it still there? How does that work? Who knows? Who knows? I would love to see an LFG lobby. You would assign yourself a role and then a group leader could select from the roster. Yeah, that would be like top tier for sure. Some kind of LFG with role selector and stuff like that. That would be insanely valuable. The problem is, I feel like that is so much development effort for the ELFT rework. And like we mentioned earlier, I think the resources that they put into this core feature update, they are not as big as we liked it to be. Look at the fashion templates. I think the fashion templates are well made. I just think it's not like 15 people that worked on it. I think it's more realistic that there's a really small team has worked on that. And I think the same goes for LFG rework or some kind of like fashion template, quick play feature. I think it's quite likely that not a big amount of developers worked on it. And then the question is, did they have enough time, or will they have enough time in the future to actually make that work? That it's an LFG complete overhaul with a lobby or some kind of role system is possible with a rather small developer team. I don't see it. I think that's somewhat more of a challenge for them, at least my opinion. Yeah, exactly. We have to see. I think that's completely fair. You know, it's like if you are a development studio as active as ArenaNet in terms of like output, yes, I know there are way more active ones, but it's still decently active. Every like 1 month, 2 months, we get some kind of patch. I think it's like, it's okay to not tell every single detail about a patch beforehand. Yeah, I think it's not realistic to release the patch notes or something like that over the course of a month before the patch. I think we should have some kind of surprise as well with the patch. And I think that we could be positively surprised. We could be. I'm not sure if we will, but let's keep our minds open for that. Let's leave it like that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Where are their resources focused? Who knows? You know, I'm bringing that up almost every stream. I don't want to debate it that much further today, but who knows? You know, they have a lot of employees. They have a really big team and a really skilled team. And I don't know where all of them are working right now. Maybe they are working on the next expansion. Maybe something else. Who knows? Who knows? I really get the impression these new features are partially like them testing the waters for system for new game. Yeah, I mean, that could be absolutely the case. You know, it's like, to be honest, fashion templates should have been introduced with the equipment templates instead of maybe the splitting build and equipment templates or something like that. So that the system is like, right now we have 4 different types of templates, or 3 plus the storage, which is a little bit much, I would say. But I think they should have introduced that with that at this point, maybe even at the launch of the game already, because that's such a good feature for like an end game fashion simulator. I think that it should have been in there in the beginning. But I agree that a lot of the things that they are doing for Guild Wars 2 with the updates now looks like they're testing stuff out. And I'm not sure if that's for just updating it in the future or maybe for another game. Who knows? I'm with you there, Machivara. Yeah. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome. How are you doing today? Did you see the fashion template live stream? Did you enjoy it? I'm really annoyed that it seems like ArenaNet always feels like they don't have enough resources. Yeah, I agree. I think that is a really annoying thing, because from a player standpoint, I think you should never say as an excuse, this feature is good, but it could have been so much better if we would have more resources. Because as a player, you don't care how much resources they have. The only thing that you care about is a good game. So it's completely fair to criticize something for not being perfect, because that's after all your right as a customer. And if the team does not have enough resources for that, that's their fault. And I mean, if you don't enjoy the game anymore, then you can stop playing it. I think that's your only option there. So I personally would say it's really sad that you always have to say, it's probably because of the low resources or stuff like that. Because that is one of the saddest arguments, because that is something that is fixable. And it's not something that, like, you say, yeah, it's a technical limitation. Our engine doesn't work like that. That is something that is probably rather unrealistic to fix. But if it's just like you have 2 to 5 more people in the team and it would have been in there, that is, to be honest, very fixable. And hopefully that will not stay like that in the future. Hopefully. Big hope there. I was also hoping for some improvements to the preview window. Yeah, that was on my list as well. You know, fashion templates, for me, looked like a feature that would be perfectly suited for updating like the preview window. Maybe make infusions go in there. Maybe make it so that you can actually use the weapon in some kind of like scenario and swing it or something like that. I don't know. It's just apparently not in the scope, I guess. Is crafting worth it, or just if I just want ascended gear? I would say for most situations it's better to get it any other way. Crafting is the most expensive way to get ascended gear and not always like recommended, I would say. So Wizard's World is really good. Strike missions or raids after the update are really good for that. Fractals, those would be my top ways, but also World vs. World and PvP works. I have on my YouTube channel, I have a guide about getting ascended gear, very concise. You can find it there, or just go to my website. Link is in the description of the YouTube channel as well. You can find it there. Yeah, I'm good. I like the fashion templates. I think that the live stream was good. It was not like insanely good because it didn't show me like crazy new features that I didn't get in the blog post as far as I got it. But I think it's just really nice that they do that on live streams and blog posts. I think they should do that more often. I think that's awesome. If they would do that like every month, every 3 weeks or something, that would be really cool. Like just talking to the developers, what they are doing, what the game is about, what they like to continuously do in the future. I think that would be such a nice quality of life. And I hope they continue to do that with the next few updates. But for now, I expect to get some kind of silence for the next 2 months after the patch drop, just because it's a 3-month cycle. So yeah, every time when the patch is about to hit, they are a bit more talkative and then they stop. That's how I see it. Welcome, Maurice. Welcome. Welcome, Snowdrop. Welcome. Yes, I think it's like I said, I would love to see more live streams, but the one yesterday was actually quite nice. Yes. There's a million other ways to get Ascended Gear than crafting. Exactly. Guild Wars 2 improved in so many ways to get Ascended Gear nowadays. Really, when it came out, it was just crafting, nothing else. And that is like nowadays, it's like 99% of the cases I would say crafting is a waste. Just get the Ascended Gear with like strike missions, world versus world, PvP, fractals, raids, anything that gives you like some kind of account-bound currency. You can probably get Ascended Gear very fast. And of course, Wizard's Vault. There are so many ways, and I probably forgot half of them. It's really, really, really good. Yeah. So what was the group actually doing? Okay. Yeah, but either way, I think like the update, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hyped for the raids especially, but I can see some people being hyped, of course, for fashion templates as well. But I just hope that the Legendary Ring, I don't know, we saw a video, maybe we can watch it later together. The Legendary Ring looks good. I like it. I think the thing about the Legendary Ring is it depends a bit how you acquire it. You know, a lot of people wanted to get an open world Legendary Ring. We will have to see if that's the case. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they add a Legendary Ring that looks like that. And I have no clue how to acquire it yet. Maybe it's bound to quick play, but it has some kind of like frogs in the trailer, which does seem to be like not quick play related at all. So it's more like some open world stuff. I guess that's what a lot of people wanted anyways. So I guess that's what it looks like. Yeah. When I want fast gold, I want to craft legendary weapons. Should I go for Gen 1 or Gen 3? Yeah, I would say Gen 1 is the fastest nowadays and cheapest for the most amount of time. Yeah, exactly. It would be cool to know what kind of materials we should invest in, but I guess if they would tell us, that is a little bit weird anyway. So I guess we have to wait until Tuesday. It's not that long anymore. The Legendary Ring, they didn't say anything in the stream about the Legendary Ring. It's just a video that they released, I think, like 1 hour ago or something. So we can watch it in a like a couple of minutes. We can watch it here on stream and talk about it. But it's just a showcase. It's not really showing you that much other than how it looks. It doesn't tell you how to get it. It doesn't tell you what kind of materials you would expect there. I think the only thing that you can like pretty much guarantee is that it needs some kind of gold sync and needs some kind of Vision of Eternity materials, because it's after all a Vision of Eternity legendary. So it would be very surprising if there would not be any Visions of Eternity things in there, because you need to have Visions of Eternity to get it, as far as I understand it. But not like that's just my guess there. It's in the core feature update, yes, but I think it's still a legendary from Visions of Eternity. At least it looks like it with the crabs and the ray of sun. It looks very like beachy, and that's Visions of Eternity atmosphere flair. 2 rings, 2 crabs, yeah, something like that. Maybe. Yeah, it's very vague. I mean, it would be really weird if it would be like very descriptive and tell you, yep, you have to do that, get that, and that in the announcement. I think that is somewhat unrealistic, because that would, like, so to say, like, first of all, be not as hype if you tell everything ahead of time. And second of all, I think you don't want to have players invest in stuff just to make money. I think you want to have players being surprised about what you need. Yeah, I would say. Honestly, at this point, I just want account-wide. Agony Resistance, getting punished for being flexible feels incredible backwards, 100%. I mean, I made a video like half a year ago when they announced, or something like that, when they announced that the first update in Visions of Eternity will be some kind of core feature update. My top feature that I said this needs to be updated, in my opinion, in the core feature update is agony resistance, so that fractals get more accessible if you play all 9 classes, or just play 2 of them even. That account-wide agony, like a mastery system, would be so good. And they ignored it and didn't even touch it. So I hope at some point they will do that. But like I said, I think the resources for this patch are rather sparse. And that is just sad, you know, it's just sad. It could have been such a good update if you included infusions in the fashion templates, mounts and everything. I don't know. Just my opinion here. How do you keep up with the Mystic Clovers? I feel like I always have the resources for a lot of legendaries, but Clovers hold me back so much. So Clovers is a really interesting point. Like, I just play a lot of, not really a lot, but I play some PvP and World vs. World every single day, maybe a bit, depending on how much I have time on stream. And then I just get it passively from reward tracks. And I use the raid vendors or the vendors that give you Mystic Clovers each week, like PvP, like World vs. World vendors. They give you Mystic Clovers each week for, so to say, a sale, and then you can stock up on them. But I have all the legendaries, so it's just for me, I stock up for them because I'm pretty much 100% certain that we will need that for the next legendary ring that will come out on Tuesday as well. So it's just playing more, playing the game modes, using your currency to convert it. That's the main part. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you there, Patricia. I'm with you there. Imagine a whole set of trinkets with different creatures attached in every one of them. Yeah, that would be cool. I would like that as well. You know, the trinkets, they could have done so many more. Yeah, that was very interesting. Yeah, I agree. UI update is still on top of my list. Would improve the game most in my opinion. Yeah, I think UI customization is probably the thing that is the most interesting. That would be the absolute top tier. Yeah, I think that would be the best. Yeah, 100%. So let's watch the legendary ring. Let's watch the legendary ring. So we have it here. I think you should see it now. Let's check. Yep, you should see it. So this is the legendary ring Endless Summer Guild Wars 2 Visions of Eternity Raids and Wardrobe update preview. It's just 30 seconds or something, so we will watch it and we will talk there. Welcome, Spirit Guy. Welcome. I already have the first 2 expansions, but I wanted to get this Visions this month. However, the salvage items are on sale. What would you recommend, getting the expansion or salvage? I think salvaging is probably more important for you as a new player. Maybe you can get the other one later. I think both of them are really good. So let's check it out. So it's a ring, yeah. It has to do with rocks. That's Timberline Falls, I think. You kill Krite. Okay. Looks like an open world thing, not a quick play thing. Pretty much confirmed. Then you get the Endless Summer lore here. Xuori was concerned. So it's about the high leg. It doesn't really tell you, to be honest, anything. It's just the lore. It doesn't tell you how to get it. Has something to do with high legs, so I don't know, could use some materials related to that, could not be the case, who knows. And then you can equip it. It's a ring, yes. And you get the Ray of Light. And when you draw it, you get some water animation and some fish. You see this water animation and the fish here? Yeah, yep. And then you get the rail again, and the crabs dancing, and the sandcastle. So that is the whole trailer here. Let's take a look at one thing here. Do they equip it? Do they show it at some point? I don't think so. Yeah, they don't showcase it, sadly. Yeah, that's the whole thing. I would really have liked to see the in-game, if you hover over an item, you see if it's unique and stuff like that. That would be cool, but I guess we will have to wait Tuesday to see if that's the case. Yeah. Kill 100,000 high leg and harvest their souls into the ring to power it. That would be an interesting twist of the story. Maybe. It's a little bit too much animation for one item. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that the rings have that in general. If you look at, for example, the Coalescence, you know, it has this purple glow. That's Coalescence, and if you equip it, you have this orbs floating around. So it has, trinkets tend to have a rather big animation. Like if you look at like the orb flowing here, that's a rather like, it's a little bit more subtle than the crabs, I would say, but it's still like this like orb floating around. So I think trinkets tend to have like a rather big like animation, but I guess that's how it goes. Yeah, I think it's a legendary. It's okay. You don't have to equip it though. You know, don't have to take the look. Yeah. Yeah. How can I get a cheap ascended backpack? Probably Living World Season 3 or 4. Farming those maps is probably the fastest way to get a really cheap one. Like for winterberries, for example. It's really good. Yeah, the crabs are cute. I agree. I think the crabs are fun and the sandcastles. Yeah. It wasn't unique from the live stream, but don't quote me. Yeah, it could. Yeah, I don't want to like... I'm not 100% sure. I think it's not unique. I'm with you there. I think they did not mention that it's unique. So it looks like it's somewhat like Conflux, which is not unique. So you can get 2 World versus World rings. I think it seems to be like the same. That it's not unique, and therefore you can equip 2 of them. So you can craft multiple of them. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I guess that would be the... That seems to be the case. Which is good for open world players. You can go fully open world now. Yeah, with the upcoming ones. Yeah, I also disable all the legendary effects. I always have all of them disabled. Yes, yes. Yeah. You can make 2. They showed that exactly. That's really good then. Yeah. So it's not unique. It's not unique. Really cool. Yeah. Thanks, Patricia, for mentioning my affiliate link. Yes, if you want to support me, you can support me for free by using my referral link in the description to get the expansion, and I get supported as well. That would be awesome, but of course not a must. You can also craft ascended backpacks with Ectos. Yeah, there are so many ways to get ascended stuff, especially like trinkets nowadays, but I would say go for ones that doesn't require crafting. Typically, that's more like approachable. Getting for like Living World Season 3 is so cheap. You just need Unbound Magic and some like map currency. It's extremely easy to get, like really easy. Just farming those maps for a couple of days, or like even one day if you do it very efficiently and have enough of the materials, and then getting it for no gold cost. It's really good. Yeah. Yeah, you can also use PvP tickets, but be careful. PvP tickets are limited per season. So if you play only a specific amount per season, that is somewhat hard to get around. So you cannot get more tickets than you would get per season, which means that if you waste, so to say, 100 on a backpack and then you want to craft the legendary armor, that is a bit more annoying then to get. Just keep that in mind, but if you don't have that planned, then it's fine. It's a really good tip, yes. Kind of a niche question, which roaming build, PvP build gets impacted the least by having 200 ping? I struggle finding something like that. I would say probably something like, I personally would say as a like support player, it's probably something tanky, yeah? Something like defensive, like a luminary support in World versus World or PvP. If you are in a large scale fight and have allies around, that's probably your best bet. If you want to make sure that you also do some damage, then it's probably something that is like a little bit more tanky by nature, maybe some kind of like, maybe ritualist, something like that, that is not focused too much on instance casts, while also being more, so to say, forgivable when you get hit, because you cannot always guarantee that you are dodging in time. So I would say that is probably my tip. Like Ritualist seems to be the best overall pick for me. That's just in my mind right now. Yeah. Maybe it's an Ectosync. Who knows? That would be crazy if it's a big Ectosync. Who knows? It's at this point, it's just wild guesses. You don't never know. You know, I did not see it coming that there will be amalgated draconic lodestones in the Ancora Pax or Bellum or how they are called. So that was surprising to me as well. So yeah. I don't know what they have planned. I don't know. Welcome, Viz. Welcome. Yeah, so either way, I think it's like interesting to see what they have planned for the upcoming legendaries. You know, not just the ring. I think the ring is pretty much confirmed to be open world now. And we will see if there will be another accessory that is also open world. Probably, it looks like it. And if the last thing that we will get is a weapon, and we don't know what kind of weapon it is, and how it will look like, and how we will acquire it. We don't know anything about it. So that will be the most interesting to me, because a weapon is obviously something that is more interesting to players that have like all the trinkets already. So I'm looking forward to like the last patch the most. I have to be honest, I was really hyped about this upcoming patch, and I still am. But right now it looks like it's pretty much confirmed. It's the raid merge, it's the UI update for raids, and it's the fashion templates. So that's pretty much it, which is good, but it's not as big as I hoped. So I'm hoping for the last patch to be like insanely big with like convergence, raid boss, fractal, open world map, story. That is like a big finale. So we will have to see how disappointed I will get when I see it. But personally, I hope not a lot. Yes. Maybe a weird question, but do you still get a reward for map completion in World vs. World? No. Map completion in World vs. World is completely like just aesthetic. It doesn't really give you anything. It's really like, I would say personally it's a waste of your time. It's just if you want to get it for like completionist sakes, sure, do it, but it doesn't provide you any value. No value at all. No new map with the upcoming patch. The new update on the 3rd of February doesn't include any open world map. I would say the open world content might be the only thing that you will get is the new ring, if that's open world. Yes. So we will just get a raid boss and the, so to say, core feature updates. That's it. Yeah. No, you don't get any tickets. I think you don't get anything for it. It's really just like a pop-up. You completed the map. That's it. Nothing, no in-game rewards, so to say. Yeah. Yeah, I guess this you stay in World vs. World, yeah. It's really just, this patch seems to be like rather small. Like it's not a really crazy big one. I personally like it. I think it's, for me, it's perfect because I play those game modes a lot, like raids, strike missions and stuff. I play that. But if you're an open world player, I think it's probably just fashion templates and the ring. It looks like it, yeah. Yeah, true. Good point by Snowbleach. Lunar New Year starts as well. So if you're a festival enjoyer and want to get some skins, sure, that is 100% the case. But it's not something like necessarily related to the patch. It's something that would start anyway in February. So I guess there's that to grind. And Lunar New Year, I have to be honest, it's one of the like not that exciting festivals, but you can get some decent gold there. You know, some really free gold. So if you are like the lazy type of player, earning gold in Lunar New Year is pretty much your thing. Yeah. My favorite festival is Halloween. Halloween is probably my favorite one. I like Winter's Day as well, but I think from the overall activities that you can do and how much you can actually get replayability out of the festival, I think Halloween is my favorite one. I think the least favorite one is probably either Lunar New Year or Dragon Bash. I think those two are rather boring. They are not really that, they don't have that much content. Yeah. The first playthrough, I think, is like Festival of the Four Winds is also awesome because of all the bosses and stuff. But if you played through them once and got all the achievements and stuff, then it's not that exciting anymore. So I would say it depends a bit what kind of level you are at yet. But I personally would say like for me right now, it's Halloween, yeah. I do have my fashion template with my gear slots. Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it's the same. I don't care about fashion as much, so I just use my equipment templates as fashion templates, and I'm completely fine with that. But I know a lot of the community is interested in that because people grind fashion skins all the time. So it's people like that. It's just how it goes. And I think that's fair. I think they're delivering for that. Yeah, snow diamonds were really hard to get, like, or are still really hard to get. I think it's to be honest, it's crazy that some of those festivals have more gold things introduced than Visions of Eternity or Chant der Wilds and Soto had as gold things. It's crazy. The festivals are like insanely like pricey if you want to get all the skins and time invested, and that's crazy. You know, I'm someone that likes to collect stuff. And I just skip most of the skins there because it's so expensive. I don't really care. I never equip them. And even though I'm a completionist, I don't want to waste like 150 gold per skin on a skin that I will never equip. It's really sad to say, but it's crazy, yeah. Yeah. I don't have any guild recommendations, sadly. I just maybe ask in map chat for a friendly guild or in Discords. They typically will help you out there. Sorry to say that. I just made my first legendary armor only because to apply skins for free because I always run out of transmutation charges. You know, very good. Welcome to the legendary armor, guys. Yes, very good, Viz. That's like, now you see what I'm doing, you know, just getting to swap stats. That's why I have the legendary armor. But if you now use it to just get the, how's it called, transmutation for free, that's also understandable, yeah. It's funny to me that you, as a world versus world player, actually run out of transmutation charges. You know, I would say world versus world players and PvP players are probably the ones that have the most amount of like access to transmutation charges. But I guess everyone is different. Dragon Bash is fantastic. Running in a circle, setting off fireworks, hitting piñatas is peak content. It reminds me like with the Living World Season 1 original release where you had to like press F on some like signs on the street, you know, that is like very like nostalgic feeling, pressing F to get an achievement. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Dragon Bash. I think the only good thing about Dragon Bash is the arena, and the arena is only like once where it's like going to a high level. That's it. Everything else is like, who cares? So I would say Halloween has a lot of cool activities that is actually quite fun and like not necessarily rewarding, like Reaper's Rumble, like Lunatic Inquisition. There are so many mini games that you can play, which I think is really good. I like that. Of course, you have the Labyrinth, which is also some brain off farm for people that like that. But I would say the first time I play in a festival, the best one is for me Festival of the Four Winds, because those really cool, I don't know, how many are there? 15 bosses? Something like that, with the different how is it called? Gambits. I think that's so good. That is such a good festival. I really like this kind of design where you have some kind of content that is like fun and challenging at the same time, and even gives cool titles and minis. I think that's really cool, but it's only the first time. As soon as you did it once, there is not a real... Oh, I don't have banner. I thought I have banner. Oh, so sad. Would have been such a juicy banner. 5 people. Repair the signpost, Commander. Exactly. That was not peak Guild Wars 2. let's leave it at that. Yes, there we go. We did it. Sometimes I change the outfit for one character through 3 to 4 times a day. A day? That's insane. That's how much I change my looks like in multiple years. That's crazy. I mean, everyone plays the game different, you know? I'm not judging here. I'm just saying that's insane to me. It really is. It really is. Okay, there we go. We did it. And I even use those World vs. World boxes to get more transmutation charges. Crazy. That's a big thing then. And then the legendary will get you a lot of value then. For sure. What festival has the PvP mode in the sewers? That is the Lunar New Year. That's so the upcoming one. So you have to wait like a couple more days and you will have it. Yes. That is a fun one. I agree. I forgot that. That one is fun. It's called how is it called? Dragon Ball Arena or something like that. Yeah. This one is really fun. I really like the Dragon Ball Arena, but the Dragon Ball Arena is like, again, it's one thing that is fun and you can play it for hours, but at some point it's the same. You know, you play it for 3 hours and at some point you say, okay, I mean, it's not that interesting. And that's why Halloween is so good, because Halloween has like 5 of those activities where you can say, okay, I switch to another one and come back later. But Lunar New Year doesn't have that, so Lunar New Year you say, okay, now I'm bored, I play something else. But in Halloween you can stay in the festival. I think that's why it's selling it so much for me, yeah. I, however, am judging it, that's wild. Yeah, I would never judge it, but if the chat judges, you know, that's how it goes. Yes. Syrma Gaming is Syrma Gaming because Guild Wars 2 is a good game. Yes, I think you're right. That's crazy. The game is doing well at the moment. People come here to ask everything, even what they want to cook. I mean, Kite, yeah, sure. I mean, if you want some help with cooking, sure, I can give you some answers. I cannot promise you that this is actually helping you to cook something, but who knows, yeah. If Anet doesn't add a new map, they also don't add new relics. No, that is wrong. There will be 6 new relics. It's not mentioned in anything else than the roadmap that we got before Christmas, but there will be 6 new relics. That is confirmed, 100%. And we will get them in the quick play. So you can get them from World vs. World Reward Packs, PvP, and the quick play, as well as Visions of Eternity. There's some kind of like accessible things there. So you can still earn them there as well. Yes, so there will be 6 new relics. We have to see how good they are. Not promising anything there, but we get some new updates there. Yes, really cool. And that's probably something that I should also mention about the patch. That's for me as a build crafter always interesting. They are included in those World vs. World Visions of Eternity reward packs. Yeah, I think they should be. Yeah, I would say 99% that they are in there. Exactly, yes. So if you stock up on those, like I did, where is it? I have like a couple of them lying around. Yeah, 8. So I can just like instantly get the 6 relics. Yes, yes. Nice, exactly. If you have 30 of them, you are covered for the whole cycle. Yes. One of them will be busted. I mean, I will get your. We will talk about it when the patch drops, and we will see if that's the case. I will be referring to your quote there, Snowbleach. Yes. And honestly, all of the Season 1 things are excusable since they would have been gone after 2 weeks until they realized they in fact don't have a 2K member team. Exactly, dev team. Yeah, I agree with you. But it's the festivals like Dragon Bash. I think they could have improved it over time. I'm with you there. I think that could have been done. Yeah. So Relics is my only new content. I mean, I had always this argument. I always said that this is something that is a little bit annoying, that there is always a patch where players that only play a part of the game might not get anything for it. And that was the case for this core feature update. In the next update, as far as I know, when it's probably in May, will only include an open world map and story. So if you're not into that, oh my god, Spirit Watch. It should not queue unranked, but it's okay. Then you don't get anything. You know, if you're an instance content enjoyer, you don't get any new instances other than the story, I guess. So that will be in May. And people that only play open world now will probably not have that much content other than the fashion templates and maybe the ring and the relics to get. So just rewards, not a new map. That is fair. And I think that's the problem with this rather, so to say, rigid, but also rather small content output that they have for a full year of an expansion. You know, if you look at, for example, Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, they had a longer development time and therefore had more time to also develop stuff ahead of time. So the first map, Bloodstone Fen, was almost guaranteed done when Heart of Thorns released, because it released like a couple of weeks after that. So that's just my take here. But either way, I think you can wait a couple of more months and hopefully still enjoy the game. Yeah. Still farming Mystic Coins for Visions? Yeah, exactly. You should help your team? Yeah, I mean, I will help my team, but we are not in the match yet. The match starts in 10 seconds. Gonna buy some after Wizards World resets? Yeah, that is true. Wizards World reset will be big. I made a short about it, how to get the most amount of value so you can stack up on your Astral Claim over the cap and can use it all in one go. So if you want to know that, check it out. But it's really easy, and you should do that if you want to get the big like influx of all the stuff at the beginning. Yeah. So if you're wondering what type of build I'm playing, I wanted to try this build. It's a power chronomancer. It's a DPS chronomancer. So we will see how it works here. It's really fun. And did they stealth? Yeah, I thought so. No, let me move. Let me move. Yeah, that's when everyone is stealthing. I mean, I guess we should get the res here. That's good. Nice, they got the res. I survived. That was a bit panic when 4 people engage on you with only 1 blink. but I guess that's what we take those. I guess I put up and go there. If they make the legendary ring lock behind achievement collection, that would be cool too. Otherwise, I'd skip that as well. I'm pretty sure that trinkets and all that kind of stuff, I think they are not sellable. That's just, we didn't have that yet. You know, everything is like locked behind some kind of collection or achievement. There is not a single back piece, trinket, amulet or something that is like just gold. And that's such a fun build. You know, they don't have any boons against this build. I will go over it later if you want to know more about it, but it's a really, really fun build. Chronomancer got buffed like crazy, so this is a really strong build, in my opinion right now. It's not like an S tier build, but if you like Chronomancer, that's probably your best bet right now in PvP. It's so much damage, while also having a lot of sustain if you play it correctly. But yeah, I expected to have a collection ring to finish that statement. Yes, I expect that because that's something that we just got with all the trinkets. Every single trinket. Doesn't matter where you got it from. Every single trinket had that. Okay. I'm bursting to 2 health bars. I knew he had the AoD, but it didn't matter to me because I had my burst combo up anyway. That's crazy. Did you see that? I actually, like, that was 20k DPS or something, 25k damage in like 3 seconds or something. It's crazy. That was a lot of damage. Chronomancer really has a lot of damage now after the patch. It's crazy. I will go over the build later, but it's really fun. It's one of my all-time favorite builds, like Power Chronomancer in PvP. Oh yes, that's good. But yeah, as usual, if you have any questions, just let me know. Just let me know. Always happy to answer questions as well. I really love the Prismatic Champion Regalia achievement because it's not just farm X amount of currency. Yeah, that is cool, but I think it would be a big surprise if it wouldn't be a gold sync as well. You know, my realistic statement is it will have a collection and it will be a rather big gold sync as well. Looking at Oryx, for example, Oryx does have some kind of like collection attached to it, while also having a rather big gold cost attached to it. And I think that will be the same for pretty much... Oh my god. Did I hit it? Yes. I didn't hit it. It's so good. No, I wanted to pot up. Oh, so sad. Yeah, okay. 2 people against me. That's not gonna work. I agree. I think it's realistic that we get a collection. I hope we get a collection that is really fun. But I think you also have to be realistic. Gold sync is coming on top of that. I think it would be so surprising if it would be free, like we get it for the Prismatic Regalia. I think the Prismatic Regalia is somewhat of a really standalone thing that is not happening that much. Yeah. What about Power Chronomancer and PvE? Oh yes, it is buffed so much as well. Chronomancer in general, like if you didn't play support, that is one of the big buffs. Like Chronomancer as a DPS build got buffed so much. It got buffed a lot. Yeah, it's like in PvP and World vs. World as a build, it's really fun and really good. But in PvE as a DPS build, it's extremely good. Like it's top tier. Like boon DPS and power DPS, it's so good. Look at this, look at this. It's so much like annoyingness. Nice, we got them. There we go, there we go. I switched to Power Willbender. Yeah, I mean, Chronomancer and Power Willbender are both really good builds, so I can totally understand that. How many more raid sellers will occupy the LFG since the infusion drops? I mean, I was looking at it, you know, I was looking at the raid LFG, and there are so many, like at some point there were like 8 things sailing, and the funny thing is they are already selling the they're already selling. For me, that's crazy to me. They are selling the Doom Skyscale skin, and they are selling the other things that we get with the update. Even though they are, so to say, like random lucky drops, they are still selling them already. So I guess you have to like say you will get 100 clears of Doom or something, and if you get it, nice. If not, then too bad for you. That is crazy to me. Like I would never purchase that, but I guess some people might. Who knows? That's crazy. Chronomancer got buffed. I will tell you why it got buffed, because it's a rather big buff in terms of like utility. I will showcase after this because Chronomancer got buffed in all game modes quite drastically, I would say. As a DPS build, not as a support. Not as a support. A support Chronomancer got nerfed, but a DPS Chronomancer got buffed. Yeah, we will talk about this in a second. So let's see if we can get like some kills here. Oh my god, this guy lived. No, they didn't live. That's good. Because Chronomancer is like, they apparently don't want it to be the full support anymore. Like full support in competitive modes is supposed to be Troubadour apparently. And Chronomancer is more like of a DPS utility pick now. And in probably World vs. World in PvP, Troubadour is still the best option in a lot of cases. That's just how it goes, I guess. I need to CC this guy. Nice, got it. CC again. This CC chaining is like insane. It's so funny. I tried other DPS mesmers and always go back to Chronomancer. Glad it's in a good spot. Yeah, it's really good right now. I think it's like 47k DPS or something. It's extremely strong in PvE, and even in competitive modes, it's like you can see here, it's a really strong, fun option. It's not an S tier build. I have to admit that it's not an S tier build because it lacks a little bit of the like crazy sustain that a lot of the DPS builds have right now. Oh my god, that was so nasty. You have to get this kill here to get the rally here. Oh, we didn't get the rally. Okay, I guess that's classic unranked. I don't know. I think the problem is if they would like ban all those LFG sell listers for raids and stuff. First of all, it's not necessarily against the terms of service, so they would have to make a decision there if they want to change the terms of service. And if they would probably lose all the veterans that are really try hard in raids. And the question is if you would want to do that. Would you want to lose all your try hard players, like really try hard players, in the PvE scene? Is that healthy for the game? And I think they are quite scared of that. I think they are really scared of it, and that is the only consideration I would say that they are currently making. CC chaining? Unlucky. Maybe we get a res here from our scrapper, maybe. No, we don't. Okay. I want to make use of one more elite spec on Mesmer. I have Mirage on what on it would recommend for a second elite spec. I don't have EOD, but everything else. I would say Chronomancer is probably your best bet. If you like to be flexible in PvE, Chronomancer is extremely strong. You can play all supports, all DPS builds. It's really good. If you have Visions of Eternity, Troubadour is also a solid pick, but of course it's not as like flexible as Chronomancer is. But it's also really strong. So we have 2 people here. So should we engage? I think we should engage like crazy. Okay, we got a kill here. We got another kill here. Nice. Yeah, the damage is good. The AoE damage is pretty solid. I like it. Is there a way to turn off the instrument sounds for Troubadour? I'm not sure. Maybe that's in the instrument setting in the sound options, where you can disable the music, but I'm pretty sure that's not working for, like, so to say, only music instruments. Okay, there we go. We got it. Every time I want to test raids and search for beginner group, the LFG is filled with sellers. Yeah, that's not a good, like, so to say, look, for sure. But, I mean, the question is, how can you fix that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Like I said, removing it is probably not good for the scene as a whole. But it would give a nicer, so to say, image for it. It's hard to judge. I don't want to be in their shoes, to be honest. Yes, you can get enough hero, like the hero points in the new expansions are over the amount that you need for getting in a single elite spec unlocked, but you will not be able to get multiple unlocked for just having the Visions of Eternity expansion, for example. Yeah, there are more than enough for 4 if you get all the hero points. Yes, you can get insane amount of hero points. Top player healing, top player damage. That's nice. That's how we like it. Good build. The thing is, how long will Chronomancer stay flexible since it isn't always pushed towards the support? I think Chronomancer is, for me, in PvE, flexible because of its utility. We can talk about the build in a second. I just want to talk about this build first, so if people want to know about it, they can see it here. So the build is like you're playing Rifle Spear for maximum amount of damage. You are using like Blink and Phantasmal Disenchanter for like, this is just disengage against passive, just really good panic button. You have some damage with the Phantasmal Disenchanter and some wound removal. You have some CC here and even more CC with the Gravity Well and yeah, reset of the Phantasms with your Signet of Ether. The idea here behind this build is you're playing very aggressive with Berserker and Midnight King Relic to get a lot of value and a lot of Fury uptime. Some defense, Rune, maybe Dolyak, with Glancing Energy on both weapons to get just the most amount of damage out. And have some defensive in the passives, like from swapping weapons, while also getting a little bit more toughness. And then you're running Illusions and Chronomancer. That's the two most important trade lines here. Because you get some nice boons. Whenever a Phantasm spawns, it gets quickness, and you get some might. And when it despawns, you get the boons from it. And because you have the Chrono Phantasma trait, you do that twice. So you get a lot of quickness and a lot of might, a lot of damage, and all of the time you copy the boons to yourself. So you have a lot of boon uptime. Then you get some nice shatter skill reduction, damage increase, and you just get a lot of value from those traits. And then now to the buff. Chronomancer got buffed because you have Alacrity being better, baseline, and movement speed. But you also get more crit chance while you have Alacrity. That's good. But now the buff, you get danger time. When you inflict slow, you and your clones get 10% more crit damage for 5 seconds. Whenever you CC with this trait, you get slow on the target, meaning that means that this procs as well. So you get always a 10% damage increase, and you have so many CCs in this build. This is a CC, this is a CC, this is a CC, this is a CC, and this is a CC. So many CCs in this build, they all AoE, and you can proc this consistently, so you get a 10% damage buff effectively all the time, with being the annoying opponent to fight with almost always slow on interrupt. So even if you don't, so to say, get someone interrupted on all their attacks, they have longer cast time, so it's easier to interrupt them in the future. And that's why I really like to run Domination here, because Domination gives Power Block on top of that, which gives you a 10% damage buff whenever you interrupt the foe, plus they get Weakness. So that means they get Weakness and Slow, two of the most obnoxious conditions in PvP and World vs. World. So it's a really, really annoying build to fight in a one-on-one. In the team fight, you can negate so much damage by just applying this consistent debilitating conditions. It's really nice. And then you have a lot of boon removal with all your shatters. It's just really annoying to deal with. And your illusions deal more strike damage, just means they just deal more damage. That's really nice, and a lot of vulnerability application on top of that. So it's a really fun build, really strong in terms of damage output. It's good. Yeah, it's really good. But of course, you can also swap, for example, for Chaos and go with something like this to get crazy boons, because you can then shatter and get, you see, some nice boons, some stability, and share that with your allies, while also getting some passive Condi Cleanse and getting some protection uptime as well. So this is also okay, but I personally like the Domination setup a bit more because it provides me with a bit more damage, which is really nice on that burst build, especially on spear, where you can like CC with 2 into 5 into 2 into 4 to get the most amount of damage out, some boon removal. It's a fun build. Yeah. Yeah, so let's talk about boon DPS Chronomancer. Yeah, I tested it a couple of times after the balance patch, and it's good. It's really good. Why is it so good, boon DPS Chronomancer right now? So this is the build. You're running Domination, Dueling, and Chronomancer. And why is it so good? Because you still have the damaging increases, like tier, a lot of damage increases, yeah? And a lot of like just value. You get a lot of nice like utility with like sharing, for example, Fury to allies, 50% Fury uptime for allies. That's already quite nice. Just a lot of damage from those traits. Nothing crazy here. But you have the flexibility of going for quickness or alacrity just with one swap without swapping any gear. This is already quite unique. No build in the game can do that other than Chronomancer. Specifically with keeping the same gear here. And you get now 2 traits. Again, those traits that I mentioned in PvP are even better here. 10 seconds, 10% crit damage increase, and like slow uptime. So you get a lot of slow and a lot of value from that. And you get passively still to this day the alacrity applied to you is stronger. So you don't have to take this trait anymore, which you had to take earlier, improved alacrity. It's now baseline. So that means that you are free and to get more damage out here. This is a really big buff to Chronomancer. It doesn't seem like it, but the damage output of Chronomancer is now very high, 38k or something as a boon DPS, while still having the utility that Chronomancer has. Yeah, so Chronomancer can share super speed. That's the best damaging setup. Well of action. You share might and fury with your allies. You can swap this, for example, to an instant CC. You can even swap to a stun break here and some H's and some stability. You can swap to Mantra of Concentration for more stability. You can swap to feedback. You can swap to portal. There is so many options, like whatever you need. Even like your illusion reset can be useful if you want to multiple distortion uses. It's Condi Cleanse. Whatever you need, Chronomancer has this in the kit. That's the really good part. And you don't lose damage. That's the good part. You lose so little amount of damage by swapping out that you are, so to say, yes, you might not have as much damage as an Alacrity Antiquary or Alacrity Luminary or Alacrity Amalgam, but the utility that you have makes up for it, in my opinion, because damage is not that much lower. And in real fights, you oftentimes have more damage because you have some ranged in the kit with like your dagger skills. So that the burst in conjunction with the range makes you top DPS or a really good DPS build nonetheless, while having the utility. I really think it's awesome. It's really, really good. I saw the new ring. Yes, we talked about it earlier on stream. Yes. I feel the rotation has to be pretty fast for keeping up boons on Chronomancer in comparison to others. And of course, you need a target so pre-buffing is hard. Yes, you cannot pre-buff, that is true. But you can alter the rotation. You don't have to follow the Snow Crow's rotation. I can show you a little bit of a more easy to follow rotation so that your boons are, so to say, permanent up, because that's, you're after all a boon DPS. Yeah. So your main role should be I provide alacrity or quickness, whatever boon I have selected, permanently to my sub squad. That is the most important aspect. You should never ever greed for DPS and drop your alacrity or quickness even for a couple of seconds. That should not be the case. You should say, I'm a support, and after that I'm a DPS. I'm not a DPS that also provides a boon from now and then. No, you should focus on having 100% boon uptime, and then you can go and create more DPS. So if you struggle with upkeeping the boons, you should try to adjust the rotation so that you actually have up the boons permanently. So let's say I'm going for quickness here. Then I give myself alacrity, yeah, and then I set up just a golem. Just doesn't matter, just a golem. And then I can show you the rotation that is a little bit altered so that you can have quickness permanently to your allies, yeah? Because the rotation is not perfectly the same with Snowcrows, so you will lose some damage, but you will make sure that you have the quickness and the alacrity, whatever you share, permanently up. That's more important, yeah. But I'm with you there 100%, you need a target. That's a drawback for sure, but I think in a lot of cases, 90% of the cases, if you're not playing Fractals, a target is there anyway. So it doesn't really matter. It's just in Fractals typically where pre-stacking is a thing. Yeah. And investment specifically Chrono. Utility is worth at least 5k DPS. It's so overloaded. Yeah, 100%. I think like even, especially after the Moa nerfs, Moa has now a 350 Defiance Breakbar damage. So it's good on a 45-second cooldown. It's still good, don't get me wrong. But it's a single target, 350. If you take this one here, Gravity Well, it's not an instant CC, but it has 450 and has 15-second more cooldown, and it does damage. So to be honest, Gravity Well is now the new Moa, to be honest. It's really good. It's probably the best option that you have because it applies multiple CCs. So if you're in Fractals, for example, it also applies multiple boons removed. It's crazy. So with this skill, on paper, you can remove like 3 boons, 3 times 2 boons, so 6 boons. It's crazy. You are the boon, like Necromancer cannot strip the end many boons. It's just impossible. Mesmer can strip by far the most amount of boons. It's not necessary in any game mode, or at least not in any PvE game mode, but if you wanted it, that's where you need to go. Yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah. Would you say Spear, Greatsword, Sword Mirage is better, or Greatsword, Sword Torch? I think both of them are really good. I really like to have a Torch on a squishy build, like Mirage. I don't know, I would say in PvE, Spear, Greatsword is better. In competitive modes, I think it's better to go with the Torch, to be honest. Yeah. Okay, so let's quickly show the rotation here. Not like obviously perfectly set up, I don't have the perfect food, I don't have the boon set up. I just want to show that I can upkeep permanent quickness if I have the other boon selected. So if I go for alacrity, I could keep up permanent alacrity, just select quickness there. But now I selected quickness as my boon and alacrity from the console. So the opener would be on sword with 5 into 3 into 2 and swapping weapons, then using your Mind the Gap and swapping into Continuum Shift, and then using your 4 skill, then using a 5 skill into 2 skill and going out of Continuum Shift. And then you're, so to say, always in the same loop of using 2 into 4 to get 2 Phantasms up, which means 2 times the quickness or alacrity. And then when you use the Signal of Ether to reset it and use the Mind the Gap again to get another 2 up. That's the rotation. So quickly showcasing it here. So going in, doing some boons here, doing this, and of course use your shatters when you're coming out here. And you can see the alacrity is obviously permanently up, but even with this setup, I already have like 29, 30 seconds of quickness. So this is, so to say, the rotation where you can guarantee that you will upkeep the quickness, because this is, so to say, you focus more on like providing quickness than anything else. Yeah. So I obviously don't have here the might up and stuff like that, so it would have more damage, but you can see the quickness is never dropping. It's never dropping. I have always almost 30 seconds of quickness. It's crazy how much quickness you provide with this rotation, with this setup, and you don't have any boon duration. It's just like you have to, so to say, follow this, and whenever you get the continuum split back up, you can repeat this, so to say, with the opener. It's really, it's not hard. It's not hard. You just have to follow, so to say, and understand the loop, what is supposed to be the loop here. But it's really like 27 seconds. You see, it's not dropping. It's really not dropping. Yes, it's rather fast-paced and it needs a target, but it's definitely not something that is like unmanageable. And you don't have any boon duration, you know? The boon duration is 0, and you can still upkeep like insane amounts of quickness and alacrity. Oh, quickness and the alacrity comes from the console. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense now. Yeah, so it's actually really, like, I like this build a lot because it has, like I said, so much flexibility. You know, you have the crazy amount of damage while you have the like really good buffs that you get from like your Chronomancer, like having alacrity being stronger on you is really helpful. And don't scoff at that. It's really, really good, because having your attacks up faster is obviously part of your damage. You know, that's why your damage is that high, but it also improves your defensive skills, like distortion coming up back faster, like your CC coming up back faster. There are so many things that actually are impacted by alacrity being better, that this trade alone is already really good. And then you have this really nice CC boon removal conjunction that you are just like god tier in terms of, like, for example, no pain, no gain fractals. You know, if you have a Chronomancer in there that playing domination trade line, yeah, there are no boons on the boss. I can tell you that. That will not happen. And that's really good. That is like utility that you don't always see people being, so to say, aware of it. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, the utility skills, you can almost like 60% of the utility skills are insane for groups. Yeah, really good, like Portal, Feedback. There are so many good options. So Chronomancer, yes, it's not the easiest class to learn, but I think it's the most flexible boon DPS out there by a long shot. It's so good. It really is. So if you like Chronomancer and the playstyle of it, give it like a long try, because you will definitely enjoy it and it will have a lot of like value for you in the long run. That's just what I want to mention here. Now, if they ask for Wing 2 50 KP, does it mean I have to clear Wing 2 50 times? No. So that's a bit weird, but in Guild Wars 2 right now, if you want to know what KP is, you have to understand what kind of loot you get. If you kill a raid boss, once per week you get a chest. Guaranteed, you open this chest, and I can show you this also applies for fractal for strike missions. Oh, I even have some coffer here. So if I open this Decima or Greer coffer, this means that I will get a trophy, some kind of like random chunk item that I can put into my guild bank. And if I put it in, and if I just not double click it, it's just a token. And this token can drop anywhere between 1 or 5 out of one chest. So if you kill one raid boss, you will get 1 or 5 of those. This is now Kadim 2 tokens. This means that 1 to 5 of those tokens are in there, and they are looking for 50 tokens. So that means if you're lucky, you have to only clear the boss 10 times to get to this much KP. If you are unlucky, you have to clear the boss really, like you said, 50 times. In most cases, it's around 2 to 3, so probably like 20 to 25 kills. That's what they are looking for. So hopefully that answered your question there. Yeah, high trade. Good point. Thanks for reminding me. What is your opinion on new players having a hard time keeping up with the meta builds because of all the different runes, such as relics, being used in different builds? That is a fair point. I mean, there is no opinion to be had there, to be honest, because I think it's, if you cannot keep up as a new player, that's just like a fact. But I personally think as a new player, you have to understand that it's not like the end of the world if you use, instead of Scholar rune, use Dragon Hunter rune, or the other way around. It's not the end of the world. You know, the thing in Guild Wars 2 is, yes, gear matters. Like having full ascended gear, having even infusions on there, the correct setup, yes, that matters. But Guild Wars 2, skill and rotation in PvE matters way more than the gear. So I don't want to say that I'm a good player, but in a lot of cases, if I play strike missions, for example, or raids, and I would go in with full exotic berserker gear, which is 10% less stats. If I would go in a normal pack run, it's quite likely that I will still be top DPS in a lot of cases, because I know my rotations, I know the boss fights, I know the mechanics. And a lot of players, even with perfect gear, will not have that knowledge or that skill. So that means that in the end, the damage that they provide is less than if they would have, so to say, a better rotation. That is the weird part. Guild Wars 2 is very skill dependent in PvP and World vs. World specifically, but even in PvE. If you want to get better at the game, you should, of course, try to improve your rotation and see that, but of course also get better gear. But I think the most important part to understand is it's not as important as people make it out to be. It's not like if you don't have best in slot gear, your raid will fail. That's not gonna happen. Just try to get as good as possible with the rotation and try to get as good gear as possible as well. And if you have not perfect runes, not perfect just some exotic pieces in there, that's also completely fine. I think it's really, don't overestimate the importance of gear. Yeah, and of course, legendary gear is, not everybody has full legendary gear. Most people don't have that, and therefore it's not like something that I would say is like expected. Of course, I'm, as a content creator that played the game for way too long, I have that and I can make builds about it, but you can still copy. I'm always in my build guides, always having exotic builds in there because they are completely fine. It's completely like enough to clear everything in the game. Even the hardest piece of content you can clear in full exotic. That's really, really important to understand. And that also goes for like having a completely different rune. That's also fine. Of course you should, if you play a power build, use a power damage rune. But if you don't have access to Trapper rune on a condition damage build, that's fine. You can go for Nightmare rune and that's also okay. It's not like the end of the world. That's really important to understand. Yeah. What's the best build for good lifesteal? I would say that's a Power Harbinger with a spear. Power Harbinger is the best lifesteal. Yes. Yeah, 20 clears for 20 KP. Nah, I mean, to be honest, I would say it depends on your luck. You know, some people clear Veil Guardian 5 times and get 25 KP. Some people clear it 5 times and get 5 KP. It depends, of course, on your luck, but yeah, it's it's definitely not like people should understand how often you get KPs that are more than 1. I would say it's more the rule that you get 2 than you get anything lower than. I would say I get most of the time like 2 for me personally. No. I'm really disappointed that they won't change how Mechanist is performing in World vs. World. Zerg and roaming, you get punished so many times to... Yeah, when your mech is dead, your build is 50% incomplete. Also, when your mech die, you have cooldown. When you respawn on mech, like what? Yeah, that is painful. Yeah, I think that's why I always say Mechanist for PvP and World vs. World specifically, it's not a good build. They should buff it, to be honest. If they want more players to play it because it's good and not because they like Mechanist so much, they should buff it. It really needs buffs. You know, I know there are some people in chat always saying, yeah, Mechanist is good in roaming, but I would say as soon as you encounter someone that is actually knowing how to play against it, it looks horrible, like absolutely really bad. So I think Mechanist needs either to be like more buffed, or they just accepted that it's not a build that they want to see in competitive modes. You know, it's just something that ArenaNet has to decide. And I don't know. I personally am not the biggest mech fan, but I can understand if you are, it feels painful. It's not the best build in competitive modes. It really isn't. Yeah, always happy to help. Always happy to help. What if they press all the boss tokens and now it's all gone? No. If you use the boss tokens, you cannot prove anymore that you killed the boss. So the only way to do that would be to get the killproof add-on or killproof account on killproof.me. That is a website, an external website, which you can use to track your clears. But it only works, so to say, as soon as you create the account. So when you create an account and you then get kills, you get the number go up, yeah? But if you use the tokens before that, then you will not have, so to say, a proof that you actually killed the boss. That's just, yeah, that's sad, but that's how it goes. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to me as well. I think Guild Wars 2 wiki is so good. Like, it's so good. Like, it's even so good that you can type /wiki and then, I don't know, what you want to look up. I don't know, whatever you want to look up, you know. You can look up the kill proof, you know, and just want to like use this ether chins token, type /wiki, ether thin chins token, and it will open the wiki, you know. That will bring you to the wiki page. The wiki is so good. Everything is explained on the wiki very, very well, and you can even use the in-game /wiki command to get there. I really think people should know more about it, should like understand how good the wiki is. I never saw any other game having a wiki that is that good to Guild Wars 2. Just, I don't want to like say this like biased or anything, but I really think this is so good. Like, if you want any answers that I cannot give you, or that if I'm not online, ask the wiki, you will get the answer you want. Pretty much 100%. Yeah. I'm currently on Cormier's library. Yes, Alpine Border. What are the weapon alternatives to Spear for Chrono Boon DPS? You can run Greatsword. Greatsword is a completely fine replacement for Spear. Yeah, works very well as well. It has, in some situation, even more DPS because you're ranged. Yeah. What's the difference in damage between a DPS and a Boon DPS? I feel like I don't do a lot of Herald quick DPS. Yes, Herald is one of the worst quick DPS builds out there in terms of damage performance. It's like around 30k, and that's very low, 30k DPS for boon DPS. So boon DPS typically goes anything between like 35k to 45k, something in this regime. Typically, I would say around 40k. That's what, a little bit like 38 to 40k. That's typically what you would expect from a boon DPS. A normal DPS typically goes between 40 to 50k. That's the normal thing. So a boon DPS has, depending on what build you play, 2 to 5k less DPS than a normal DPS. Something around this, yeah. Yeah. And quick DPS Herald is sadly one of the worst builds in terms of boon DPS damage output. It's just sadly the case. It's really not. It's not the build if you want to go for high damage output. It's a safe build, but it's not the highest damage build. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not saying don't want to offend any wiki that I did not see yet or don't have anything. Yeah, OSRS is also really good, but I think Guild Wars 2 has a really, really good wiki. And maybe there are better ones out there, but I think it doesn't really matter. I don't want to compare to others. I just think it's a really good wiki. Yeah, that's the important part. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Snowdrop. I noticed it when I started typing. Yeah. Yeah, you could also swap to double swords. That is true, but the thing is, double swords are not as good as if you would go for great sword and dagger sword. That's just a better option because sword main hand is just a little bit weaker right now. Really wanted to play Revenant. Should I just take the bullet and go Conduit now? Yeah, Conduit right now is like insanely good. Like you can play a full DPS power Conduit with 50k DPS. You can play full support Conduit that is also surprisingly good. You can also play, if you wanted to, some kind of quick DPS Conduit. That's also really good. You can play a Condi Conduit. That's also really good. Like right now, if you're Revenant enjoyer, it's probably safe to say you have to play Conduit to be top tier. Conduit is just outclassing every single other Revenant elite spec in almost every game mode, in every single situation. There is only one build that can keep up with this, which is like Alacrity Renegade, because you can share Alacrity. That's the only thing that Conduit cannot do. Other than that, I would say Conduit is just the GOAT for Revenant, which is good for people that like it, which is bad for people that don't like it, because it seems really like you are grieving your team if you're not playing Conduit. It really is like that. Maybe in World vs. World it's not completely true, because Vindicator is a really good healer there, but that's the rare exception. Yeah. And Conduit is fun, I agree. I think like especially power Conduit is extremely easy to get into, and it's I would say quite like forgiving as well. Yeah. I love Spear Conduit, but the roleplay of a Herald is much cooler. I agree. I'm with you. I think Herald is, from a design perspective, way cooler, because it's just more like the roleplay aspect and just how you feel with Glint and stuff. But right now, like Condi Conduit, that's a nasty. That's a Mechanist, you know. We saw a Mechanist here. So I think this guy is pretty much dead now. Yeah, that's Mechanist in a nutshell. You know, they got me to 10% while I was AFK and reading the chat. Now they are dead. Sad. I'm sorry, my friend, but Mechanist is not good. My mother tongue is German. I'm from Germany. Yes. Yeah, if you don't have Soto, that's true. You cannot use the dagger. Then sword main hand on Chronomancer or any Mesmer build is the best option. Yeah, sword with great sword is, so to say, the core option that works really well. Yes. That is true. I asked the wiki how to get good in PvP. It said you better just stick to PvE. Yeah, I mean, PvP and World vs. World is just patience. Trying to improve, trying to just play more, and you will hopefully get better with time. It's just, it takes time. That's the only big recommendation that I have there for you. No secret tip, to be honest. Yeah, same with Spear. Yep. True. It's bound behind or locked behind Soto or Chante Waltz, the Spear. So it's completely true that if you want to play core, great sword is probably the best bet for Mesmer. Yep, as a power Mesmer, that is. Would you recommend making a new slot for Revenant, even though everything apart from Conduit is mid? I think Revenant is a really fun class. I think it's, if I would have to rate the class in terms of fun aspect, I think Revenant is, from the heavy armor classes, one of my favorite ones. Or in general, one of the overall, the whole game is one of my favorite ones. That's very personal. I know everybody is different. But I personally would say, just because of that, if you like the design of it, be sure to make a character for that. Because meta and the terms of like damage output and stuff like that changes all the time. So in a year from now, I would be very surprised if Revenant is still at the current, so to say, mediocre level of utility and damage and stuff like that, apart from Conduit. So if you enjoy Revenant, be sure to do it and create a character, because, to be honest, meta changes all the time. And even right now, Revenant, you can even play Heal Vindicator if you wanted to in PvE. It's not something that is like total garbage. It's just not as good as other healers, but that's okay. Not everything has to be perfect. Yeah. That's how my mech in World vs. World. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to flame mechs all the time, you know? It's not like Mechanist in PvE is a really, really good class. Like, really good. The problem is in competitive mode, it just falls off like crazy. You could see it here in this 101. It was like, yeah, they played well, you know? But the problem is I did not die in their burst because I was just reacting barely in time. And then I just counter-bursted them and they didn't have any, like, anything against that. That's the problem, yeah. Mechanist is just too weak in competitive modes. I really think so. Are mech enjoyers the laziest people in Guild Wars 2? I would not generalize, but I would say a lot of people that enjoy Mechanist all the time, they are probably also the people that play Mechanist because they have a pet. And that pet helps them. Oh, the Mechanist is back. Let's do another one. No, maybe not. But yeah, it's really about Mechanist players typically like to have a pet, and that means that they like to have some agency put on AI. I don't judge there. I'm just saying it looks like a lot of players that play Mechanist like to have a little bit of a lazier part. Let's go hunting. Oh, it's a power Mechanist. Oh my god, that's a crazy cook. It's a power Mechanist. But they're not playing rifle, so it's just like, what is this? Interesting, very interesting. That is a cook, if I have ever seen one. Yeah, I mean, not really gonna work, I have to be honest. Not gonna work. Yeah, Bladezone is still a meme in PvP. You can make some nasty bunker build with it, but that's about it. It's not really good in PvP, Bladezone, sadly. Somewhat similar to Mech, I would say. Mech and Bladezone are just builds that are not really good in competitive modes. Yep. Yeah, Mechanist in general, you can play like Rifle Mech in PvE. You can play Condition Mechanist, that is also somewhat easy. It's really like Mechanist is made for players that want to have a rather easy time of playing a class and still having great DPS. But it's only working in PvE. It's really not a competitive mode class. It really isn't. And as soon as you accept that, you can enjoy Mechanist. I would not force playing it in competitive modes. Yeah. Always happy to help. Always happy to help. Why is Connet Willbender so hard for PvE to learn? So Condi Willbender is hard to learn in PvE because it is very spammy. And the problem is with classes that are very spammy that you have to press a lot of buttons first of all. So that means that you have to be like a piano player, yeah. But even if you enjoy that, that doesn't mean you just spam the attacks off cooldown and you will be good. Condi Willbender is hard because you still have a priority to follow. So if you don't follow this priority, then you're smashing buttons off cooldown and your damage will be okay. But only if you understand what the priority is, you can actually get the highest damage numbers, which is not a good combination for new players to learn, because smashing buttons is fun to some people, but smashing them in the right order is, even for like players that enjoy smashing buttons, not the easiest, because you also have to understand the rotation and the priority and stuff like that. So you have to, it's quite a lot to learn. That's why Condi Willbender, really good if you play it right, but there are not that many people that actually play it that crazy correctly. Yeah, sadly, which is like just a fact, I would say. Make us a good noob stomper. Bladezone straight up sucks. Yeah, I agree. I think Bladezone is like, I think like if you play Bladezone, you just play it for the roleplay. You don't play it because it's a good build. And Mechanist might be even better than Bladezone. Yeah. But doing more than 35k for a raid, is it really useful or required? So the thing is, in a real fight, like a raid boss or something like that, it's completely fine to have a build that does 35k damage as a DPS build. Because if you can actually perform that in a real fight, or even less than 30k, that is in a lot of cases way better than most people that play in pucks. Way better. But you have to understand, if you have on the Golem 35k DPS, and this number goes down in a fight even more than you would expect, because maybe you're fully melee and the boss requires some range and stuff like that, then I would say 35k DPS is a little bit on the low side. Yeah. So keep it a bit in mind what you always compare to. But I would say if you can get like on a Golem 35k plus, that's already good. The thing is, if you get that with the perfect rotation, then it's more on the low side. But if you can get, like, for example, like you play Power Soul Beast and you can get 35k, that's okay. That's a decent number there. Yeah. So if I do 39k on the Golem and do 34 to 35k on a raid boss, it's really good. Yeah, I think that is really good. Yeah, that is more than like 99% of the players do. So be happy with that. Of course, you can still improve, but that's good. Yeah, that's really good. Depends, of course, on the raid boss. You know, some raid bosses you can, for example, Merced Overseer, you can have the benchmark. That there is no mechanic that actually keeps you from getting the benchmark. But on bosses like, I don't know, there are so many bosses actually to almost every other boss, you have mechanics to take care of, or you have some split phases, you have some invulnerability phases, and then you just cannot upkeep the damage all the time. And then your damage drops, which is also okay. That's just how the fight is designed. But then you will never get to 35k DPS. Yeah, I mean, if you play Rifle Scrapper, that seems like a build that you can play, and that works. But like I said, you should always be a bit careful with your own builds, when you come up with your own builds, because if you get those numbers, very good. But oftentimes the meta builds are meta for a reason, and there are so many meta builds right now. And if Rival Scrapper is not a real meta build, then that's probably also for a reason, because Hammer typically is better or something like that. But if you enjoy it, if you get the damage numbers, who am I to judge? Yeah. Yeah, of course. Especially if you play an open world, you know. Just pressing auto attack is probably more than a lot of players. I'm not even like talking about the sky scale campers, but I'm also like just in general talking about people that just don't know what to do, maybe run around with like rare gear that is not fitting their build. So just pressing auto attack and understanding roughly what kind of mechanics the fight have in open world, you are probably better than 90% of the players. It's really like, just try to improve. That's the mindset that I would recommend. Try to improve, try to understand why you deal as much damage as you deal. And if you want to get better at the game, just try to get a bit higher numbers. That's it. That helps in the long run a bunch. Underwater PvE tier list when? I was actually thinking about it, but to be honest, I would have to test it somewhere. So how do you test underwater, you know? I know you meant it as a joke, because I cannot see anybody being interested in that. But I was thinking about it, but to be honest, I like to have some numbers to back it up, you know? So testing the DPS output of like underwater Trident on Elementalist, yeah? So where would I test that? What is like a nice testing scenario? Because you cannot test on the Golem, so you have to test it in a real fight. But what kind of real fight is somewhat like repeatable in a way that I can say, reproducible, that I can say this is the same for every class? It's really hard. So I don't know. Really, Thousand Seas Pavilion has underwater golems. That is interesting, but it doesn't really help me because I still need to get the boons, you know? Because without boons, I think it's really hard so I need to have a full squad or a party setup to make sure that I can actually compare the numbers with alacrity, with quickness and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Very annoying. And I really don't see that being like a big, how can I say, big help, big guide to new players. Because if you judge in terms of underwater combat, oh yes, I chose Elementalist because it has a crazy underwater DPS. I don't know if that's the smartest way of judging. Megalodon, yeah, that came to my mind as well. But like I said, again, it's not really repeatable that easily, you know. It spawns quite fast, but it's not like guaranteed to always be there. And maybe you have some allies around, maybe you don't. I do raid rotations even in open world, and somehow the squad almost fails to one. That's not a good sign, yeah. But that's just how it goes, you know. It's just one. You're one out of 50 players or something. So even if you play it perfectly, that if the 49 other people are not, then yeah, not gonna help. Oh, we have it back. Let's do another 101. Do another 101. We cannot get enough 101s from mechanists. Oh, teleporting away. We interrupted the rocket jumps. Interesting. Boonless underwater T-list. What a time to be alive. that would be it, yeah. I'm playing such an offensive build, you know. Oh no, we have another one. Another challenger approaches. That's not good. Now we struggle, I think. This is probably the important target here. I mean, it's their camp. They cannot capture it, so... Okay. Now we can get the kill here. Yep, we do. Very nice. And now we can capture the camp. From my personal experience, Mesmer and Ranger have good underwater DPS. Yeah, I think Mesmer is insane. Spear underwater Mesmer is like really good. Like this tornado or magical storm or something is like giga DPS. Yeah, Mesmer is really good. But I think there are a lot of classes that actually have decent underwater DPS. Okay, Mechanist is back. Okay. They want to do it again? Maybe, maybe not. That was a greedy teleport, my friend. I think that will kill you. Yup, it did. So let's capture the camp before anything. There we go. That was good. Try hero points, mushroom cream, for instance. Yeah, yeah, maybe. You know, it's gonna be interesting when the first Slamso one downs 15 people. Yeah, that is you already know that is probably not a good sign. Yeah, sure. I mean, it was, you know, you're playing it now, and it's the nerfed version. You know, when End of Dragons came out, it was one of the biggest like uproars in the entire guild. Was 2 lifespan. Was so 1 being like one of the hardest, if not the hardest open world event ever that they released. That was like insane, like 90% fail rate or something at the beginning. That was crazy. And even now it fails sometimes. Or not that often, but it can. It's surprising. It really is. I really enjoyed the one when it came out because it was a really crazy cool fight that was also challenging. But now it's still fun, but it's not as challenging anymore. That was different. Why you're bullying mech players? I'm not bullying them. It's just world versus world, you know. They could play Scrapper or something and would have been better off. Not bullying, not doing. I'm even playing like a crazy cook build. It's not like something that is like meta or anything. You see, I don't have that much Conny Cleanse. I play with Arcane Brilliance, so come on. It's not like I'm playing like the best roaming build right now. Yeah, exactly. I think it's oh my god, there are a lot of people here now. Yeah, I think it's completely understandable. I think like it's fine to carry people through stuff. Oh my god, should probably play it really safe here. This guy's dead, I think. Maybe I'm dead. I have to kite a bit here. Okay. That's good. We got away, but that was a bit scary. Like Power Harbinger, bit scary matchup. The Mechanist is back again. Very good. I'm just playing World vs. World for fun. Not really for like any farm. You know, I like to increase my World vs. World rank, but other than that, I just try to have fun. Yeah, something like that, Patricia. Something like that, yeah. Yes, I'm playing Evoker, exactly. Assume Guild Wars 3 would be released in, let's say, 3 to 5 years. How are we thinking about the future of Guild Wars 2 then? Somewhat similar to Guild Wars 1's future when Guild Wars 2 was released. So Guild Wars 1 still is actively being developed now at this point, and I think Guild Wars 2 will have the same. So we will get consistent like updates, just smaller ones. Not big expansions every 2 years or every 1 year, but we will get updates like that, I would guess. That's my prediction. So Guild Wars 2 will consistently being developed, just at a slower pace. That's my prediction. But who knows? You know, I would say it's quite likely that they will talk about the future of their company in 2026. I would be very surprised if not. Yeah, it's true. It's crazy. Yeah, it was crazy. I know it's niche, but I'm interested in a duo builds. I'm playing Chronomancer with Reaper Harbinger. Is heal plus full DPS good, or 2 boon DPS? I would say in like 99% of the cases going for 2 boon DPS is the better option. Like playing Alacrity boon DPS Chronomancer with Quickness Harbinger is probably your better bet, because in almost every situation, having 2 people doing a lot of damage is clearing the content faster than having one person dealing a little bit more damage and having a healer, because a lot of times the healing is just not necessary. Healing is just necessary if you have like raid or really try hard fractals, like for example, I don't know, 100 CM, or even there you don't really need it if you play it correctly. So healing in Guild Wars 2 is like not mandatory in a lot of cases, and therefore I would say for a duo setup, it's probably better to go for 2 boon DPS. Yeah. Yeah, that is a fair point. That is a completely fair point. If you like Mechanist because it's less, so to say, skill reliant, I think that's a completely understandable thing. I'm just saying, if you want to always have the best build, then I think Mechanist is in competitive modes not the best option. Playing Guild Wars 2 for fun, yeah, exactly. Who does that? Yeah, it's crazy. Another idea for a crappy Guild Wars 2 video, the wildest AI recommendations for Guild Wars 2. It's so often wrong. I thought about making some funny video there, like asking, so to say, for help on a specific topic in terms of like AI, and it tells me something, and it's so off, you know. Especially I had a lot of people commenting and asking me on Discord or something. AI said I should do that. Is that true? I couldn't find it anywhere. And the answer is, it doesn't matter what the question was. Typically, no, don't trust AI when it comes to gaming advice, specifically, because they just don't know anything about the game they are talking about. They just like randomly find something that, or I don't know, like imagine something, who knows, but it's not helping. So that would be a very fun video. I'm not sure how many people would watch that, but I think it would be very fun to make, because there are so many wrong things out there. Yeah. Sounds like fun content. Yeah, exactly. Is Firebrand dead? I just cannot find a group content looking for quick heal. Firebrand is not dead. I think Firebrand is extremely strong. The problem is, first of all, Firebrand is not the easiest class to play, and second of all, the mindset of a lot of groups right now is Alacrity heal and quick DPS. That's what you're looking for. I don't know why, but a lot of people prefer Alacrity heal. Maybe because of the classes, maybe because it's easier to pair with a quick DPS, because quick DPS like Ritualist and stuff like that are right now really good. But I don't know. I really don't know. I think Firebrand is definitely not dead. I don't know what the reason is, to be honest. What's a good overall build that is low intensity, deals fairly good damage, and pre-Soto? That would be like Rifle Mechanist or Unload Deadeye. Those two are pre-Soto and very easy to play and very safe and low intensity. Of course, only play that in PvE. You would not play it in competitive modes. Just saw your new video on the Celestial Tempest. Is it better than the Power Berserker Gear Tempest? Depends on what kind of content you're doing. If you're solo, Celestial is better. If you are in a group, Berserker is probably the way to do it if you want to play DPS, yeah. That's my tip there. I really dislike target to ground skills. Any build you recommend which has very few of them? In general, like Warrior doesn't have that many ground targeted skills. And probably Thief if you don't play Spectre. Those two classes have probably the least amount of ground targeted skills. Avoid Elementalist and Necromancer typically. Those two have quite a lot of ground targets. But yeah, I would say ground targets is very build dependent, I would say. Very build dependent. Maybe it's because quick DPS has higher DPS. Maybe you're right there. But the thing is, it's always skill dependent. You know, some people are just more skilled. You know, Alacrity DPS can have more DPS if you play the correct build. You know, for example, Alacrity Antiquary or Alacrity Amalgam, they have really high damage. It's just people don't reach that number typically. I don't know if that's the reason or if it's just, I don't know what's the mindset there. Yeah, I don't know. It's maybe historical, like Snortop puts it, but it's just at this point, it's not really a proof anymore. You can play quickness heal completely fine in Alacrity DPS. It depends on the encounter and the players that you are with, why something is better or worse. At least in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy like ground target AoE stuff. That's why I play those classes way more than classes that just have like tap target. I think tap target is for me a little bit old school. I like to have like something that is like a bit more, I don't know, just more active action combat related. So that's why I play Scepter here on Evoker, because it's extremely strong. But Scepter is not my favorite weapon on Elementalist. I think it's one of my least favorite weapons because it doesn't have any real ground targeted attacks. Elementalist is the king of ground target attacks. However, Scepter is not. So I'm not a big fan of Scepter. It's just so good right now. I have to play it. I really would like to play Spear, but Spear is a weapon that is so squishy. It's really fun because it has so many ground target attacks. You know, it's all about hitting it. And especially if you played it, for example, in push. Ooh, deluxe. That feels so good. The problem is, it is just very hard to play around. And in a lot of cases, it's very unrealistic. You can see I will be able to clear this camp, and I will also win some 1-on-1s with it, of course. But it's not something that is like always the best. Yeah, Scepter is just obviously in a lot of cases just straight up superior. Sadly, yeah. But I guess I have to be honest, now that I see Spear, maybe I have to play some more Spear Elementalist Evoker. I mean, unless we are talking literal LCM encounters, it doesn't matter anyway what you play as long as certain stuff is covered by whomever. Exactly. I think it's like most people are somewhat hypocrites if they talk about, oh, we have to run this group composition because this is like very important for our DPS. First of all, you probably never reach the benchmarks numbers anyways. And second of all, you don't have the good players with you anyway. You know, the people that, if you had 10 LCM type of skilled players in your group, yes, then you can talk about composition. But even for like me and most other players here in the chat, just play what you like and fill the role that you do and you will be fine. You know, you can play Alacrity Heal Amalgam for all that matters and that will be fine as well. It really is just about playing the stuff that you know how to play and that you are somewhat decent at, and you will clear the content. That's what matters way more. Always prefer to advise for Alacrity Heal and Quick DPS because it's easier to find players. Yeah, but the question is why? Why is it easier to find players? Because I have to be honest, I don't see any reason nowadays why Quickness Heal is worse than Alacrity Heal. Not a real one, at least in most situations. That's just my take though, yeah. When you're speaking about play that only in PvE, like Rifle Mechanist, does that include Fractals? Yes. So PvE means everything in PvE, like strike missions, open world, Fractals, everything is included. That's what I'm talking about PvE. What I don't mean with PvE is world versus world, so that's what I'm currently doing, roaming or surging. So if you're large scale or small scale open world PvP or PvP specifically. Like if you go to PvP, with like equalized gear, Mechanist is bad there. But even if Reckless, Rifle, Mechanist, and Unload Deadeye are completely fine. They're not like top tier builds, but they are fine to start out with. Yeah. I was trying Power Circle lately with Greatsword and Spear. I feel like Greatsword feels clunky. You all agree? Yeah, I think Greatsword is not... That's why I made a video about it recently, and I thought like Greatsword for Warrior needs some kind of help. It needs some kind of rework, make it a bit more like user-friendly, make it a bit more, I don't know, modernized, whatever. I think Greatsword is a very nostalgic, old-school weapon that, in my opinion, needs a bit of like updating. Maybe a lot of updating, depends who you ask. But I'm with you there. I'm definitely with you. I just really, you know, it feels like you have this old 100 blades nostalgia of like using it in a dungeon, and they really want to hold on to that. But I feel like that is, oh, the Mechanist is back. But I feel like that is a lot of times not like the best thing, you know. You should update something and keep the idea of it maybe, but not make it like really bad. Okay, he's fighting me again. The burst. I'm so sorry, you know, this is like I landing 2 attacks and instantly 100-0. It's crazy, you know, it's just Evoker in a nutshell against the Mechanist. I'm really sorry. Yeah, the mechs are relentless, but it doesn't really help. I'm so sorry. You know, you can come 100 times at me. I think you will not win. Yeah. I mean, you can turn your character with the Greatsword 5 if you play it correctly. You can do that. You just have to play it. You have to have a target. That's the thing. I will showcase it in a second. Yeah. Yeah, a revolution, not an evolution. maybe you're right there. Yeah. I mean, I would like any changes to Greatsword. You know, Greatsword is always like a nice weapon to use. I just hope they improve it. I really hope. Yeah. Eviscerate, spam is peak. Yeah, decapitate. Yeah, I guess that is the new Berserker feeling. I agree. Yeah, I guess. I heal Fractals as quickness, heal Vibrant. It's so good. A heal doesn't do it for me personally. Yeah, that is. I can understand that. I play builds that are good, and I don't care if it's Alacrity or quickness. I really don't care. Yeah. So we can maybe try some Greatsword Warrior if you're interested in PvP. Greatsword Warrior is a surprisingly good build right now. Paragon is extremely strong in PvP right now with a Greatsword. Yeah. I'm not saying it's a skill issue, I'm just pointing out that there is a setting that can make it work. I will showcase, I just wanted to wait for the tick here. And then we can... come on, give me the reward. There we go. And then I can showcase it. So it's a setting that you have to activate. Then I can show it to you. So it's a setting. It's called Allow Skill Retargeting. Yeah. So where is it? Here. Allow Skill Retargeting. When you're using a skill that targets enemies, changing your target will cause the skill to update with the new target. Yeah. So if you use this, if you activate it, then you can use it. You just, of course, you're right. If I use this attack right now, I will run in this direction. Cannot change it. That is true. But I can use it if I have a target, which you probably a lot of the times have a target. You can switch the target. So I will showcase this. I will run to this heavy golem. No, my god, this guy is destroying the golems, so I will not showcase it. There is a target where I can run. I guess here. So there's this undestructible golem. I will target this one first, and then I will swap to this one, and it will change the course. Yeah, okay, if I would click on it, yeah, obviously. Skill issue, told you, skill issue. But if I click on this one, then I will change direction. That is obviously not helpful if you want to run away, because if you run away and you want to change the direction 90 degrees, that doesn't help if you don't have a target there. But, so you see, 90-degree change. It's possible, but you need a target. You still need a target, and there is a way to also target something through walls. There is a really weird interaction of settings and stuff that can make that work. But I'm still always, you're right, you cannot change the direction. If I run away and I run like this, and then I decide I want to go here, not possible. I need a target for that. So if I don't have a target, cannot change that. That is just the sad truth here. That's why Greatsword needs some kind of help. Yeah, it really does. It really, really does. So we need a dagger here. There we go. That's the meta build. Yeah, the burst skill is really satisfying to land. Really, really satisfying. I don't know why. It just feels so good. Swinging, like making one 360 turn and hitting really hard. It's just really, really good. It's fine, you know, not every game mode has to be for you. If you cannot get into PvP, that's okay. If you like it, try it more. Try to be patient, but if you don't like it, play the other game modes. It's still fine. What is the best gear for Hair Evoker in World vs. World? It's, I would say, Marauder. Marauder with a probably like quite a big gap to the next best. Marauder is the best, yeah. But if there's a wall between you and the target, yeah, exactly. The wall is really... The problem is for me that Greatsword, I think the 3 and the 4 skill are okay. I think the big problems are the 2 and the 5 skill. So the 2 skill, if you could move while casting it, it would probably be already a big improvement. Maybe decrease the damage a bit to counteract that it's actually way easier to hit then. But the 5 skill is so clunky. And it's also like, for example, I can showcase this. How can I showcase this the best? So this golem is out of range. You can see it by the red bar below the attack. You know, if there's a red line below the attack, it means it's out of range. So I go a bit closer and it's now in range. Yeah, so it's a 1200 range. So if I go back a bit, now it's out of range. But I can cast this attack. And I'm out of range here and I cast it and I will still attack the golem. Did you see what happened? Even though I was out of range with was over 1200 range away, I still attacked the golem with it. It's so weird. It's like it checks the range at the end of the attack. So if you're in range when the attack is about to attack, then it will attack, not at the beginning of the rush. Really weird, but that can also be useful. But in a lot of cases, it's just you have so many weird interactions with skills like that you have to just understand and play around it. There are so many other examples like that. Let's get out of combat. I will show you another one, which is really weird. So for example, Warrior has Bull's Charge, which is a really strong attack. It's a dash, and if you hit it, it is a 3-second knockdown. It's an evade as well. This is an attack that is super weird because it can be line of sighted if the enemy is above you. So if the enemy is higher ground, has the higher ground than you, then this attack might not hit them, which is extremely weird. So sometimes, if you play it correctly, in the past you could jump this attack. So if the enemy uses a Bull's Charge and if you don't have a dodge and you jump it in the correct amount of time, you could avoid this attack. What? I mean, I think it's an interesting gameplay decision, but I think that's definitely not intended. It's just crazy. It's crazy how like Warrior specifically, but all classes have some really weird interactions. Yeah, exactly. The set axis is too strong. You just get outplayed by this. We have a lot of interesting mechanics like that in PvP in the old days. They fixed it to some extent now. But for example, not Elementalist, any block, for example, this block here. You have this on Mesmer blocks. You have that on some Warrior blocks. So when you have an attack that blocks, and then it has a counter attack. So this attack is only one block. If an attack is in melee range, you block this melee attack, you will do a counter attack. However, if this attack is not in melee range, you will just continue to block. So this is a really good block in this case. But and now comes the really weird part. Okay, it's not a warrior match, I'm sorry. But now comes the really weird part. If you use this attack in melee range and someone attacks you with a melee attack, you would do the counter attack. But if you jump at the correct time, so when you block the attack and you jump up, you cannot do the counter attack because for whatever reason the jump is the thing that matters. You will continue to block. So it is still really like, okay, why is that the case? What is happening? Why? What? So let's play some Spear Evoker here. Let's see how it goes. No promises. I like to play Spear here. Let's play it. Let's play it. Yeah, I agree. I think like jumping is really, really nice. If you can jump while casting, that's making the skill way more interesting for me as well. Yeah. A lot of games struggle with set axes and skill interactions. That is true. It's skill x like skills and like 3D environments is not a very easy thing to code well. I have to be honest. Maybe at least that's what I see with the current games. Yeah, it's just Guild Wars 2 is not the only one. Yeah, that has issues with that. We will see if the future game will have different issues. Hopefully not that one though. What's your favorite class to roam with in World vs. World? Right now it's Elementalist, I would say. I really enjoy Elementalist roaming. It's a really good class because it provides a lot of like flexibility and skill expression. I like that. But it's just personal at this point. Yeah. I lack experience and build knowledge, maybe skill. I'm playing healer, Luminaire. Is there a possibility to improve myself outside of random groups? Yeah, you can go to the golem area. We can show this later. I will just like try to... Oh my god, my team is pushing the cart. And the enemy team, oh my god, the amalgam is on me. That's already really annoying. Can we get the rest here? Maybe. That was a very nasty hit, I have to be honest. I got the kill at least, but maybe I could have rallied here if I played it better. I think I will die here and rally him. Unlucky. Gibt es eine Klasse aus einem anderen MMO, die dir gerne in Guild Wars 2 wünscht? So the question is in German, is there another class that I would like to see in Guild Wars 2 that is not in the game yet, but might be in another game? I really like the idea of a class that is focused around like something. First, two actually. I really like in Final Fantasy XIV there is this like, how is it called? I always forget the exact name. Astrologian? I think that's how it's called. Astrologian I really like. I think it's a really fun concept, like having something that provides like... Oh my god, what is that? There are just traps everywhere. Yeah, some kind of healer that has some RNG element in it. I think that's really cool. Or some kind of cards drawing. I think that's really fun. And I like some kind of like Pictomancer. I think a lot of games have that now. Some kind of drawing character. I think that can, if executed well, that can be very fun. We don't have that in Guild Wars 2 at all. But I think that is very far-fetched. It doesn't really fit in Guild Wars 2's like gameplay. I think like the Astrologian is way more realistic, to be honest. But I don't see we get a new class anytime soon. I don't see that. Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird with the set axis. It's really weird. There are so many. This was just like one thing that I had like here in mind. Oh my god. The confusion. I hate confusion. I mean, I got a kill, but that doesn't help me. Astrologian, exactly. I think that's really nice. Yeah. But there are... I have to be honest, I think it has to be executed well. I don't want to have something that is heavily RNG dependent in Guild Wars 2. I think that's not a very healthy way of playing the game. But if it's fun RNG without being too obnoxious, oh my god, that's just annoying. It's just annoying. The random traps of this Dragon Hunter, like what? My god. Big Doing Guild Wars 2 would go hard, painting motifs while other people burst. I personally, I really like this concept. I think like it's really fun. I think it might not be the most fitting thing when it comes to like... Okay, we got the interrupt here, I think. Oh my god. No comment here. No comment here. It's just like full Trapper DH. That's the hard counter to my build here. Like my team is like losing the card, obviously. So not good here. We got the kill here at least. I have to push here. I mean, we got... How many kills do we get here? Like maybe we can actually clear them completely. We get this kill. Yep, we do. But... For Christ, that's crazy. Stop it. Amalgam is so annoying to deal with. I have like literally 2 Condi glances. Literally. And now this guy comes back. This is a very, very crazy match, I have to be honest. Oh my god. Instant stability corrupt as well. I like it, I like it. That's Okay, we have here like 3 people down. That's already a good sign. 4 people. Can just... Oh, my teammate is dying. No, that's good. Sorry, I will catch up in chat in a second. That's just like very intense gameplay here. Very intense gameplay. This Amalgam is just like farming my team. Have to make sure that we get the kills here. Oh, they went in rampage. That's not good. Inventions. It's not good. We have to hit my teammate. Not that they rally them. And there we go. I really want to get the consoles, but I fear that if I go for the consoles, my team loses the card. We have to get the rally here. They didn't rally. They didn't rally. That's just crazy. Okay, we got the res here. Oh my god, such a crazy push match. My damage is insane, I have to be honest. It's like at this point, like I'm hitting for like so much. You have to get this kill for sure. Nice snipe. No, don't run away with the card. I have to be so careful here. Okay, interrupted the attack. No. Oh, stop it. No. Let me live. Yeah, that's what I feared. Like, the rival swap and I'm dead. Now we lost the match. It was a fun match though. It was a fun match. I go on point, I guess. I want to die with the others, maybe. Do we have a DC? I think we have a DC. Because they are not like respawning at all. Sad. Yeah, Black Mage. I mean, Black Mage is already in Guild Wars 2, to be honest. Like, with the Spear edition of the game, this is already in the game. Like, top player healing. What? How did I get top player healing? Look at this. The classic unranked push experience. What? Like 40% healing as at full DPS. That's insane. Doesn't matter. It was fun. Yeah, but I think Black Mage is already in the game. Like, Black Mage with those, like, spear casts, you can, with those etchings, you can do that. And if you stand in there and do attack casts, you get better attacks. And then you can use this crazy attack here and get a volcano attack. It's way too flashy. But yes, Spear on Elementalist has, to be honest, this Black Mage feeling. So, there's that. Yeah. Nice, Fuji. Welcome, welcome. Yes, yeah, that was an intense match. We could have won that for sure, but it's a bit hard if we just have like 4 people in the team because one couldn't respawn or something. That's a bit annoying. could be a more mobile version of what Staff Elementalist was back in the day. That would be really fun. I would like that. Like I said, I don't see that getting into Guild Wars 2 because I don't see a new class ever being introduced, but I would really like that. I would like that a lot. I think Guild Wars 2 would have a lot of like fun use cases of some kind of Pictomancer or something like that, yeah. But you paint the elements instead of just switching to them? Yeah, it would be cool. I like that. Yeah, it's true. PvP and World vs. World especially can feel very like there are so many attacks on the screen, so much stuff, especially for new players. It's very overwhelming. But even for veterans, don't worry. It's like you don't see every attack, especially in World vs. World. It's way too much to comprehend. That's fine. Not everything has to be understood. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Amalgam is really good. It really is. Methodical to fire force spam is bold. Yep, exactly. Every time I want to try PvP, I watch someone play PvP and just say to myself, yeah, I'm sticking with World vs. World. I understand that for you, but I have to be honest, I like big, large-scale Zerg World vs. World gameplay. Yeah? I played it a lot, but I have to be honest. This kind of aspect of having an impact, a single person having impact on winning a match, because you can carry a 1v2 or even like just delay it long enough that your team can win the other side of the map. I think this is somewhat missing in World vs. World, and that's why I really enjoy PvP, because your skill expression really gives you something back. You know, in World vs. World, if you outplay on like a heal luminary, how does that even look like? I guess if you're the commander, you can outplay. You might have a more different experience there, but if you just get the healing out, that's not gonna happen. In World vs. World, it's more like the whole Zerg has a mind of its own. I still can't play the warrior build. There are so many side noders here. I have to play something aggressive. Oh, so sad. But yeah, it's just like, for me personally, I feel like it is the skill expression is what keeps me going to play PvP as well. Because I can clearly see, okay, I misplayed here. Crazy, this was a good play from me. This is something that you a little bit miss in World vs. World, at least for me. Exactly, you can't be rooted. Yeah, Black Mage is some kind of warrior child. I see that. Yeah, it's like warrior greatsword too. Yes, exactly. Doesn't one of the classes have an automatic passive damage reduction? A lot of classes have traits like that, but it's not like making you giga tanky, because damage reduction in Guild Wars 2 works a bit differently. So if you have multipliers that give you 7% damage reduction and then 10%, they are not additive, but they are multiplying, so to say, the base values. So it's not really like, it doesn't really give you that much value. So it cannot become invincible by using multiple damage reduction. So it's not really a classic important thing to consider. Yes, that's the same Elementalist build that I use for roaming. Exactly the same. It's Evoker, like Marauder in World vs. World. I use Sakiras in World vs. World. Here I use Relic of Venom and those traits. Nothing special. It's the meta build. Wait, there's a thing. Yeah. Is there an easy Amalgam build for PvE? Maybe LI? I have to think about it. Amalgam really makes great use out of kits. Oh my god, of course it's the power core mesmer on me. It's so annoying if they have stealth and we don't. I think we can get the kill here. Okay, we got the kills. Now we head close, I guess. I don't know about low intensity Amalgam build. Okay, so we got those guys. Maybe we should cap them, kill this at some point. Just make it fast. Exactly, you're just the cog in the machine, meaning that yes, you are one of 50 players, so you can help your team, but you will not be the person that carries your team, because you need more than one person to carry your team. There are some exceptions. You can make like some 7-person squads or something like that, up to 5 to 10%. And then you might actually have the agency in this 7-person squad to kill a 10-person squad, or a 50-person squad. That can happen. But a single person carrying the whole World vs. World fight, that seems rather unrealistic. Yeah, not gonna work here with like, what is this? Like, my team, where's the team? Maybe I can get rest here. Maybe. But they might also just teleport here now. Yes, we got the rest. That's very good. Yeah, Core Mesmer is just good at bursting. It's not good at surviving. Love your content. Just wanted to ask, how much do you play so much Guild Wars 2 without the burnout? I just try to have fun. You know, whenever I play a game mode, I try to have fun. If I don't enjoy it anymore, then I swap. You know, you see that on stream all the time. So I played World vs. World. I roamed a bit on stream earlier. If I don't have the energy anymore because it's just boring or I just don't have anything to do anymore, then I swap game mode. And if I don't have any energy to play Guild Wars 2 at all, then I just stop. That is a very important mindset. Don't burn out by grinding gold. Don't burn out by going for this daily and that weekly. Just play when you have fun. Do what you find fun. And if you don't have any like energy or just fun out of the stuff that you're doing right now, then stop. I think that's the important part. Guild Wars 2 is really like about playing what you like. And if you don't like to play right now because there is no new content for you, then come back in a month. I think that is something that's completely fair. That's why I didn't burn out. I always, oh my god, it's a hammer. Power conduit. It's painful. It's really painful. Yeah, just die on point here. Like 3 people, I will not get away. Look at this damage. Power Conduit, Power Harbinger, and Power Berserker. Not gonna lift that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Amalgam is not really made for LI. That's the problem. Amalgam is really like, it likes to use a lot of buttons. It's like, so to say, the catalyst of Engineer. It really likes to use a lot of buttons. Okay, we can maybe get the damage here. Is that a support? No, it's a Condi. Oh my god. They are really like, I'm so dead again. Yeah, this is a nasty combo. Like, condition. Can we get the kill here maybe? No, can't. Okay, interesting. My team is like ignoring me. That's so mean. They don't like me. Fastcar can carry his entire server, according to him. I guess that, I mean, that I don't want to say about single people, you know. Maybe some people can. I just have not seen anybody do that, you know. For sure. Maybe we have here, we are just not as capable as other people here. Yeah, but I personally would say it's unrealistic. Oh my god, my whole team is dead. Glad that I survived this burst, to be honest. But I think I'm so dead after this. Maybe not. Maybe I can lift this. Nope. That's painful. That's PvP in a nutshell. We have also someone that just left the match, rage quit. You know, red numbers is always bad here. Not good, not good. Good commanders can carry a Zerg? Yes, exactly. A commander can carry a Zerg. That is true. If you make good shout calls, if you make really good decisions, 100% you can carry the Zerg. But that's not because of your gameplay, it's because of your decision making. And that's something different. Because that's not because you are a single player that carries with your skill, it's because someone actually makes the right decisions. And not if 50 people in the squad want to do this, that's just not possible. You have one commander. That's it. Nothing else. You have to target the core Mesmer here. You have a Condi Chrono and a core Mesmer burst. It's annoying. I can't. What? Yeah, not gonna work, sadly. Exactly. Average PvP match, to be honest. Yeah, I have to be honest. This season, also the last few months, have been very painful, like very painful. I like to play PvP, but it doesn't matter what kind of match I'm in. I'm either playing against like rank 1 and they are duo queuing and they are just completely destroying us because they have like giga duo queue and like, yeah, look at this, like, or we get a DC and we get spawn camped and we cannot do anything. It feels very like one-sided. It's like, I don't have that many matches where I say, that was a fun match. PvP is really like, it's such a fun game mode. But I think the population is hurting it so much that I don't enjoy it as much anymore. You don't see me playing it on stream that often anymore. I play more World vs. World, I play more PvE. I really don't enjoy PvP right now because it just feels very, I don't know, just unfun. It's not, the experience is like, you have a DC, you have a stomp match in one direction or the other. You have not any like fun, close matches where you could say, okay, if I played this 101 better, I would have won the match. It's more like, if I would have queued 10 minutes later, I would have won. That is not a fun game. That is just the population is hurting it. That's the big problem. I really think that's an issue for me personally. Yeah, it was kind of fun, but unranked was stomped or getting stomped. Yeah, it's true. It's true. There are commanders who are really good at being won, but they are skill clicking their dodges, backpedaling, and keyboard turning. I don't know, Lorena. Maybe I don't want to judge. Yeah, I think I don't want to judge other, like, so to say, voices, other people that talk about the game or like do stuff that is, so to say, a bit more, how can I say, not being, so to say, the lurker in the big pool of just players. Being a commander is always somewhat like you have responsibility. You want to be someone that actually helps your team, wants to actually make the correct decisions. So I don't want to touch there, but I think skill clicking is probably not a good sign. That is true. Yeah. Yeah. The population is 100% to blame for the state of PvP on NA. Not sure about you. It's exactly the same on EU. It's like the population is the only issue with PvP right now, in my opinion, is population. You could make the argument, yes, the meta is not good. It's only Visions of Eternity specs and stuff like that. But to be honest, that would fix itself to some extent if you would have, like, I don't know, 50 times the population. Because you would have better matchmaking. You would see that in like gold or even platinum matches, it doesn't matter if you play Visions of Eternity specs. You can play the specs that you are actually good at and that you enjoy playing, because you can still win with specs like Power Chronomancer if you wanted to. You just have to be good. And right now it's just like, if you play at a normal time of the day, it's quite likely that you have a silver player playing with a platinum player, just because of the low population. That's not fun for either of them. That's just not fun for either of them. And that's a big issue. That's the biggest issue. I don't know how they can fix it, because I really like PvP. I think it's one of the best, if not the best PvP in MMOs out there. But fixing population is very challenging. It's very, very challenging, because what do you do? Do you increase the rewards? Will that really get more players into the game mode that stay long term? Do you make the game mode more appealing because of some other like prestigious rewards? I don't know. I really have no clue how to make that work, and I don't even know if it's even possible. I would like that a lot, but I don't know. I really don't. Maybe you have a good idea. Yeah. Yeah, it's somewhat ArenaNet's fault, 100%. They could have done in the last 10 years so much better in terms of like marketing, in terms of like decisions for PvP, 100%. I'm not saying that's the default of the players. I'm just saying at this point, that's the only big issue. And I don't know how to fix that. I really don't. I don't want to make this a doomer stream, because I'm a positive person. I hope that this will be like come across to you, that I hope they will fix it, that I hope it will be getting better. I'm just also a realistic person that I don't really see it at this point. I play PvP because I like it, but as soon as I get matches like this, I feel like, nah, for today I'm good, you know? That's just sad. It's just sad. Maybe bonus events, yeah, maybe that helps, but we have PvP rush events and they increase the population, but it's just short term. It's players playing for a couple of days and then leaving again. You need a consistent player base to make it long term as well. You know, if you just have for 1-2 weeks a bit more players, that's not gonna cut it. That's the sad truth. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But why would I play PvP when I can play PayPal Champion instead and get rewarded with a gizmo? Yeah, that is true. That is true. But to be honest, Guild Wars 2 has always had an issue with prestigious rewards. What is, like, is there any reward in Guild Wars 2 that is somewhat prestigious? Not really. Everything can be bought in some extent, to some extent. And that's an issue. But I have to be honest, 99% of the player base wouldn't really care if that's an issue, if you would have some fun in terms of like the gameplay. You know, if the gameplay and the population, the matchmaking is fun, there doesn't need to be a prestigious reward. If the reward is just some gold and it's fun to play, I think a lot of people will play it. But right now the rewards are not like giga good and the matchmaking is not good. It just means that not a lot of people playing it, and then it decreases even further. It's some kind of vicious cycle. I don't know. I feel like how to get out of there, I don't see it. I really don't. I used to like PvP, 90% of my time in PvP. When they killed rival data, I couldn't find a class to play with and have fun. Yeah, that's always bad if the balance kills your fun. That's sad, yeah. It's a question of accessibility. Most people get stomped out of their mind in the beginning. Unranked is an experience. Yeah, 100%. I think I made a video yesterday about it, and I think tutorials is what's missing. Like making tutorials for PvP and then a slow introduction into it, and having the population to have a full noob team against another full noob team would be a completely different experience than if you play your first PvP match and you're playing against rank 1. That's the issue. Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah. Is PvP and World vs. World players still a minority? So PvP is very small, yes. And World vs. World is, I would say, rather decent. I don't have the numbers here, but if I would guess, you have like 90% of the players are playing open world. And then you have like the rest of the player base is, so to say, it's probably not true, but there is a huge part of the game is playing open world, PvE only. And the rest of the player base is playing either most of the game modes or some of them on top of open world. So I would personally say PvP is a rather small one, especially the active scene where you play every day a PvP match. That's really like small, but it's still good enough to support casual gameplay. But if you just want to have like competitive matches, I don't know if that's gonna happen anytime soon. Infallible maybe after next patch, since that will be harder to say probably. Yeah, that is true. Infallible will be a really cool title. I really like this concept that you don't have anybody going down in your raid clear. I think that's really interesting. Not complete death, but also not down stat. That's really cool. It's harder to sell for sure. But the question is that a prestigious title that people say like, yeah, this guy is really good? Or is it just like they had the right friends and then they were decent, you know? Because not going down on your own is not really like that much of a challenge right now. It's just like, have you 9 people that also don't go down with you? I think it's a prestigious title, don't get me wrong. I like this title idea a lot. It's just not something that is like, it's telling you you're a crazy player, you know? You cleared the craziest challenge mode with like one hand or something. I think prestigious rewards is always debatable. Everything can be hard or easy depending on who you ask. It's always challenging to come up with good rewards there. The New Year event is dropping in 3 days on Tuesday. Ooh, yeah, Fuji has World vs. World numbers. That's interesting. I would really like to hear the numbers there. Yeah, really interesting. What is the World vs. World population? How high is it? Yeah. If it's really all CMs, then I'm with you, Snowdrop. If it's all CMs, then I'm with you. But if it's just a normal mode, that's not that special. Like clearing all normal mode raid bosses without going downstat, that is doable. But all the challenge modes and maybe legendary challenge modes, oh yes, that's prestigious. Yes, for sure. Welcome, Don. Welcome. Yeah, I think PvP is not for everybody. And even if they would give legendaries away, I think like a big population of the Guild Wars 2 scene would not play that. It's really like, that's okay. I just think we need more incentives and more population to make it even fun. Yeah. Yeah. When you run out of mastery points for certain expansion, do you go on an alt character and you do the story for masteries and experience? No, I don't do that. So the masteries and the experience and the leveling and stuff, I just do that once and that's it. Yeah. Are you need to do CMs? Are you sure? I don't know. I have not the confirmation. If that's true, then it's good. That if you need to do the CMs without going down, I think that is good. Then it's a prestigious title to some extent. I think the LCM is not there because that's probably too hard for most people. But I think that's a good title then. It's a fun concept. I think in general the rewards, they come up in the future for like the Raid Sky Scale skin, for the CMs, for the Raid God title, that kind of stuff. I think that's the Infallible title, the Eternal, the Mentor achievements. I think they are really thinking about the rewards and really make some, that is actually changing something. I'm not sure if it's now too late to make a really try-hard raid scene come back alive, but at least the people that are still here can work towards something. I think that's good. I like that. Yeah. I can't even get a Kinfoil CM group. No dev. Run with my guildies. Yeah. Maybe we have to set that up, but it's like the problem with fractals is it's not that hard, but a lot of times you can make something faster if you GG. For example, Lonely Tower CM, you can see GG and make it like 10 seconds faster. And in my groups, when I play Lonely Tower CM, it's like I never get the, so to say, the Eternal or however it's called, that no one dies, because we always GG and save those 10 seconds. I definitely feel you if you don't have the title. It's a bit annoying, yeah. It's all CMs, but I don't care. I don't know how many elite titles are that dependent on other people's play. Yeah, I think that's what I don't really like. Maybe it's just my mindset, you know, that I don't really like to have achievements that are dependent on other people's performance. I think that's quite common in other MMOs, that you have like to clear a specific boss, you have to play good and your allies have to help you, because that's just how it works. You know, that's not something that that makes sense on any other way. You know, you cannot clear a raid instance that requires 10 players without having 9 friends with you. That is completely fine. Sure. But the problem is, how can you make that in a way that I always feel really bad if I play very well. You know, I play really well for 1 hour straight, everything perfect, and then someone else dies 2% before the boss dies. That feels really painful, and I think that is like somewhat. I totally understand that, why I don't like to go for titles like that, or people wouldn't like to go for it. It's really, really annoying. Yeah. Yes, I will check the Discord DMs in a sec. Yes. It was annoying when WoW added immortal titles in it just caused guildies to argue with each other. Exactly. I think that leads to a very toxic relationship, because everybody wants to be getting the title, sure, but at the same time, if you played perfectly and someone else didn't, then you lost the title as well. So I know this is a good idea because it strengthens, so to say, the overall skill level improvement, because people want to get better and all want to get the title and stuff, but it also leads to a lot of toxicity, because even if you have good friends, I think you might lose some of them if they behave badly or you behave badly, just because you are not patient and not understanding. I don't know. I think this is really hard to balance. And I think this Infallible title is probably the only time and only way to introduce it without making it too toxic. At least for me. But I have no clue. I really don't know. I have no clue if that's like a good idea in the future to make stuff like that. Or if they should just say, nah, prestigious rewards. It's more like, that's just how it goes. You know, even if you introduce a title for clearing Ura LCM 100 times, I think there would still be people that can buy it from others, you know? So what is like prestigious? What is prestige in the first place? I think in like online games, it's really hard to make titles, rewards, achievements that are really prestigious. It's always, players always find a way to cheese it, to give it to someone that didn't deserve it that well. I don't care, you know? For me, it's always my own mind, you know? If I want to get an achievement, want to unlock something, I want to get it myself. Yeah. I actually think it's the smartest thing to require all people to stay alive, since the challenge automatically increases either way. Either way, you risk the full raid builds and go fast, or you go slow down and go safer, but since you need to stay within the time limit, I think it's smart. Don't get me wrong, Snowdrop. I think it's completely a smart decision to do that, but I think it's, for me as a somewhat of a solo player that doesn't really have a static or anything like that, it feels very painful to get a title like that, because I might have the skills to do it, but I need 9 other people to actually have that as well. That's why I think it has some kind of like bad taste as well, you know? I want to be able to achieve the hardest stuff in the game without having to rely on other people performing crazy good. You know, I get that you need to have 9 other good people with you to clear LCM, but they don't have to be like giga god tier gamers and all the time. They just have to do it once. And I think that's some kind of friction for me. I get the title is good and all, but I think it will be very annoying for me to get as someone that just pucks all the time. That is a bit annoying for sure. So let's just quickly check the DM. I will be back in a second. It's get good for the community. I like that. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, if that really helps it, sure. Hammer is the best typically on Scrapper. So at least one player currently active. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean I will not share this then on stream because it's obviously not. It's interesting. Thanks for sharing with me, Fuchu. I might talk about it. But the thing is, it's really interesting. It really is interesting. Because like population in games, you know, it's not just a Guild Wars 2 thing. As soon as you talk as the development studio about population, maybe the whole game's population, maybe a population of a single game mode, even if it's really good right now, maybe in the future the population is decreasing. And then players start to panic and say, oh my god, the game is dying. So it doesn't really matter. Whenever you release some kind of population, people always find a way to negatively impact the image of this game. Even World of Warcraft doesn't release population numbers anymore because of this reason. As soon as they fall down or just decrease a tiny bit, players find this as a proof that the game is dying. And this is bad image, so they just don't do it. And I think that goes for ArenaNet. They don't show the player numbers, the active player numbers. They don't show active numbers for specific game modes, just because they don't want to share this, because it might have a negative backlash in the future. So I don't want to like share this in some kind of like proof of anything. But it's interesting. I think the world versus world population is, in my opinion, the second largest after, so to say, PvE as a whole. For sure, PvP is definitely smaller, way smaller than world versus world. And in a lot of situations, I would say, even raids seem to be smaller, the population, than world versus world. Quite a bit, to be honest. Yeah. PvP and like raiding and strike missions have way smaller populations than world versus world. Yeah. Yeah, I think sharing population numbers in an ideal world would be nice, but in a real world scenario, I think that's just not gonna do any good. That's why I don't want to, so to say, fuel the potential fire there. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. We have to help the community. Yeah. So here's the Greatsword match that you all wanted to see. Greatsword Warrior. Greatsword Warrior incoming. So what do we have here? Okay. It's a Condi. Condi? What is this Condi Chronomancer again? That's a bit annoying, but I have a lot of Condi cleanses, so it should not be that much of an issue. Okay, we have now 2 people here. So I guess we go Rampage and try to see how it goes. Nah, that's annoying. Hmm. Okay, okay. See how it goes here. I have to disengage rather soon, to be honest. Just try to hold the cap for a bit longer. Okay. Okay, I mean, I can maybe get the decap here now. Okay, there we go, decap. I think I should maybe get the kill here even. Yep. Oh, that was so close. That was close. You see, that's a good build, you know. I have so much healing. I even killed this guy almost in a 1v2. I have a lot of cleanses, and the greatsword, you know, that was really annoying that this guy plays with, like, I think like chaos, something like that, and has a lot of blocks passively, because that's obviously killing me, like with my greatsword. Like, I want to hit this F1, and if they just randomly get an H's or something, that is really annoying. But I think we will probably just push again and win this 1-on-1, you know. My favorite PvP map? That's a tough one. I would say, like, Forest is a really good one. I like Forest. This one here, for example. This is probably this one is my favorite one. I mean, we can. I think we win this. Like, if we don't get outnumbered, we win this quite hard, to be honest. Nah, we get outnumbered by the support again. That's very annoying. Yeah, I mean, what can we do here? We have to wait for our team. And contest it here a bit. Confusion. That's why I rated Confusion in the top tier, you know? I died here because of Confusion. Look at this. I got one shot by Confusion because I tried to cleanse it and died. Confusion, S tier condition. Impossible to counterplay without being, like, negatively impacted. It was 3-win. Who knows? Who knows? I don't even know if it's, like, announced at some point. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it's not even called like that. But either way, I expect that Guild Wars 3 might not have any PvP in there. Yeah, hot take, but I think it might not have any PvP in there. At least not any, like, structured PvP as we have right now. Oh my god. Yeah, it doesn't. I think it's just like focusing on too many game modes. It's exactly the reason why Guild Wars 2 has such a big problem. Oh my god, has such a big problem keeping all of them alive at the same time, juggling them. I think it's like Guild Wars 2 tried it in the beginning. We had PvP, we had World vs. World, we had PvE, and they had a big problem. So I think no PvP should probably be a smarter choice. I really think so. Like, maybe make a World vs. World, maybe, but making a structured PvP in the next game is probably again a problem with, like, how do you balance it? How do you put resources in all game modes? I think it's really, really tough. Yeah, but that's just my take, you know. Yeah, Legacy is also a really good map, I agree. And I don't see Stronghold, to be honest. I don't see that. Let's me warrior, me far, me, you know. Yeah, as usual. so far so good, you know. We actually, like, if we get a 1-on-1, I'm happy. But is this guy waiting for the respawn? I mean, I guess I will try to contest it. So, do this. No, they got it. Maybe I get the kill though. Yeah, we got the kill at least. PvP, PvE and World vs. World would be nice. Yeah, that's my prediction, because it's like, I don't know, it's really hard. You know, talking about a game that is not like announced yet, that we don't have anything if it's really happening or not, it's a really hard decision, because how does that work? You know, do they want to make it completely different than Guild Wars 2, or do they want to make and put in and talk about the strengths of the game? So what is the best part about Guild Wars 2, and try to make it in Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars 3 the same. So for example, World vs. World is one of the most common things that people actually play, World vs. World and open world. Do they want to lean into those strengths, or do they want to make something that's completely different? Is, say, Guild Wars 2 is about those strengths and we do the weaknesses in the other game? I don't know. Maybe it's more instance based and you get raids and classical Holy Trinity and stuff. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I think it's like, it seems to be less focused on open world stuff and more focused on like instances and stuff like that. That's my guess there. So the Gale shot, it's an annoying matchup. I guess I will just try to... the confusion. Look at the confusion. I couldn't press an attack because I would die to the confusion. I had 12 confusion. So sad. Yeah. It's really like... if you look at the Reddit in Guild Wars, there is a Guild Wars 3 Reddit. If you look at that, oh my god, that's content. That's content. But, okay, I guess I will push close this time. Who knows? Who knows? It's insanity for sure. But I also have to be honest, like, there are a lot of trolls on there as well. So, how many people are here? We have to get the decap here, but we also have another DC. Again, how many DCs do you get in, like... I had like 3 matches today on stream or something like that. How many DCs do I get? Like 3 or so. Maybe it's a game issue, or maybe it's just like PvP in a nutshell. Like, how can you get so many DCs in your team? It's crazy. Maybe we can win this 1v2 here. Oh, it's a 1v3 now. Now it gets a little bit spicy, to be honest. That's spicy. Oh my god, and the pull as well. Oh, 100 blades feels so bad to use, to be honest. Even if you can land some of the attacks, it feels so bad. Yeah, not gonna happen, to be honest. Yeah, not gonna happen. Sad. Intentional DC, I don't know. It always looks some kind of like rage quit, but I don't know what happened, so I will not judge here. But it just feels so painful, you know. You play a match, you want to have fun, you want to have a fair match, and like you get DCs, you get like some kind of match manipulation. Either way, it's just... what can I say? A PvP is like the population, and just like the matchmaking right now feels somewhat painful. Drafting a Selichimorpha now feels a bit pointless. Yeah, it's not like the most important legendary, I can tell you that. I have it as well, but you can see on my... I have 70 characters, and I can count on one hand how many I actually equipped it on. Because I just never play underwater. It's just like for the completionist. That's it. Nothing else. Yeah, I'm with you there. But yeah, I don't want to speculate about Guild Wars 3 too much, you know. We don't even know if it's like announced this year. We don't know if it will be called like that. We don't know what's even happening in the background. That's just like rumors or like educated guesses at this point. But For me, it seems unlikely that an Unreal Engine 5 game has crazy good open world, structured PvP, whatever. I think that's not realistic in my situation, from my standpoint. But that's just me, yeah. I don't get why they don't rework 100 Blades. It took way too long for them to realize that Warrior needed 5 seconds swap baseline. Yeah, you know, the thing is, the 100 Blade rework is, in my opinion, would be a net benefit for Warrior Greatsword, because just making it movable, you know, it's such an easy change, would make it 100 times better. Just more to the power level of the current game. Yes, it is an iconic skill and you are rooted in Blades and that's iconic, but it makes it really bad. You know, it's like even in competitive modes where Greatsword is a meta pick right now, even there, 100 Blades is a skill that you will barely touch. And in PvE, yes, you touch it, of course, because it does a lot of damage. But moving while casting, it is probably like giving Warrior at least some of the love that it needs to be a really fun build and a lot of people would play it. That's just me. But who knows, yeah. They could make it a Blade Storm instead and move 100 Blades to 100 as it used to be. They could do that, true. But I think at this point, I don't see them reworking weapons that crazy. But who knows, maybe, yeah. I would like to have some crazy reworks for weapons. Yeah, I would definitely like that. Yeah, but either way, I think that's the end of today's stream. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have some really spicy content upcoming this weekend, so hopefully you like it. Slight teaser, big balanced discussion coming today, I think. So yeah, check it out. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Have a nice weekend. And see you next week with Twitch drops. Let's be excited about that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hype, exactly. Hype. See you. Take care.